Did I leave the stove on?
Do you know what? It's been a countless amount of weeks, and for me, that trailer just still gets better and better, that intro, so I love it. Good evening, one and all. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be in the world. Tonight, we're talking the Kenobi show, because if you haven't been keeping up, it finished this week, so I'm looking forward to that. Before I bring in my guests, yes, guests plural, and we've got somebody making their Opie-Verse debut tonight, so I'm looking forward to that. Let me tell you a little bit about my week, because this is probably the only chance I'm going to get. So why the devil not? It's my show. My name's on the door, so I'm going to talk about me for like 3 minutes. But what's been going on this week? Not really a lot, other than I got a gift from Disney. So if you haven't seen on my Instagram and TikTok, they sent me a Lightyear box. But we'll talk about that a little bit, because I might have been top trumped on the Lightyear promotional stuff. But we'll get into that. What else has happened Lego wise? The magazine, I'm late on these, but I got my Star Wars magazine, which is, it's a Razor Crest, but next month we're getting a Darth Maul, which is from the Throne Room build. That's all right for £4.75. Yes, these things have gone up. And I got my Marvel magazine as well, which is Captain America. I think I got a Captain America not that long ago. It comes with a little Tesseract. But next month we're getting a War Machine. Always good for minifigures, these things. I don't think I've ever had a build in an Avengers magazine, but there you go. Never mind. Enough about me though. Let's talk about you lot. I mean, look, he can't even contain himself. He's sneaking in the chat right there. I stalk Matt. Everybody stalks Matt. We stalk Matt. But hello, Nick. Hey Joe. Hello everybody. But Ultron Gamer. Look, he's coming in again. He's not even on yet, and he's swooping in from there. So yeah. Without further ado, because time is going to get away from us this evening, let's start bringing our guests in. In the past, when I've done this, I've gone nearest to home and then I've gone furthest away. I'm going to do this in reverse order now, so I'm going to go furthest away. Now, I can see you guys in the bottom. I can see our guests oh, he's gone. So I'm going to go with the other one who I can see, because I wasn't sure who is the furthest away of the two. So it's a good job I wasn't going to go with that one, but introduce him first and foremost. You may know him from YouTube, you may know him from Instagram, but you will certainly know him from TikTok. I give you a Mr. Matt Mellish. Good evening, good sir. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon. How are you?
To be honest, Matt, I'm a little bit drunk, but I'm all right.
I wish I was on your level, in all honesty. And I have a little bit of a cold from the con that I was just at over last weekend too, so we can suffer through this together.
Well, from what I understand, you're not the only one, so we'll definitely delve into that a little bit, because I'm curious to see what you guys have been going on to be passing colds around.
Oh boy.
Anything to report from the con weekend to this? Anything exciting? Any Lego news, or just flying under the radar?
Oh goodness. I mean, there's so much to talk about. I'll hit the main points though. It was just a lot of fun really meeting everybody, having a chance to talk to other creators in a 3D reality rather than just a two-dimensional internet reality. I got some amazing deals on retired sets at what was called the yard sale, one of the nights at the convention, where, you know, the general public wasn't around, but it was just folks who were displaying, folks who were a part of it with their passes. And then the other day when I got back, I couldn't help myself, and I went and I picked up something from Facebook Marketplace. So if it's around here somewhere, I got a TIE Fighter pilot helmet that I was telling you about earlier for $30, still sealed.
What a steal. And I was seeing you could probably sell the tiled pieces alone for $30 on that, because that's ultimately what makes that so expensive. Right. So yeah, absolute steal. Nice. Sounds like you've had a good week.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Well, I look forward to chatting Kenobi with you tonight, because there's so much to discuss, and I know you're looking forward to chatting aka getting stuff off your chest. But we'll.
I need a vent. I think we all do.
This is the place to be. So yeah, I'm going to bring in your PIC now from Chicago and somebody else who was suffering from con cold, as well as brother from another brick, as well as the TRA company. I give you Mr. Cool Guy Dom. Welcome back.
Hello. It's so glad to be back. It's been way too long. I'm so excited for this show, and I hope everyone's doing fantastic.
How are you following Chicago Con?
It was fantastic. Like Matt and I, we both have picked up the con cold, which I guess what people are calling it. It's not COVID. We got tested for that. It's not COVID, so that's good. But it was very surreal to be at this convention in person, because last year I went to Brick Fair, Virginia, just for one day. But unlike this convention, we were there for the entire experience, all of the days, the private days, the public days, and it was such like a unique feeling being in the physical presence of the Lego community. It was like life-changing. It was awesome.
I mean, I have to admit, I remember last year for Brick Fair Virginia when you guys, a couple of like the Lego TikTokers went, and I was like, yeah, I'd like to be there, but I don't feel like I need to be there. Chicago, like I was gutted not to be there.
Chicago next year.
Honestly,
it's so good.
It. Well,
what do we have to do to get you at Virginia this year?
That's like in a month, man. That's a little.
all I can see is I've looked at flights and the timing is awful. Like it physically can't happen for reasons that I won't go into. But next year, funnily enough, so I'm actually planning a lad's trip to Vegas, and right now there's like me and one other lad who's going, because like all of my other mates are like, I'm not going all the way to Vegas, it's too expensive. And it's not really that expensive if you're watching lads. But the lad who I'm looking at going with, the one who's like in agreement, is actually planning a trip to Chicago in June. So I'm thinking, like, look, I wouldn't come to Chicago with you, but we'll be there at the same time, and then me and you can just jet off to Vegas. So who knows? We'll see.
That sounds like a great idea.
What, like Lego and then Vegas? What more could you want? So
spend the money at the Lego, and then whatever you have left over, Vegas.
Win it back.
And then win it back. Absolutely. But yeah, can I just say it? The TRA company, with comments like this, you're welcome to stay forever. So thank you for that.
That's so nice.
But yeah, look, we'll go into it a little bit more kind of when we've got everybody around the table, but looking forward to hear more about the Chicago situation. Next up, we're going to we're in the UK, we're in Great Britain, but not in England, because we're going down to Wales to last week's guest. And I'll just let him put his, get ready on that, but I'll give you a Mr. Nathan Fett. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, gentlemen. How the hell are we today?
We're all right. These two are struggling a little bit, as we've heard, but not. It was I would say a worthy sacrifice for your health, because it will just be short term, but not that.
Exactly.
Nathan, since we caught up last week, anything to report?
I got a bargain on a Black Series figure. I paid $5.99 for Grief Cargo.
Oh, is this controversial that he's took it out of the box?
You can seal it up easily again. It's fine. It could be, though.
Well, I suppose it's all in the eye of the beholder.
Exactly.
This is why I don't get into it. Hey, James, good to see you in.
Hello.
But yeah, good. Anything else? It's
Not
difficult
much.
for you because we spoke like 7 days ago.
I know, it's not been too long. I'm happy to be back, and happy to be back so quickly as well, in the presence of some amazing creators this evening. So I'm really happy to be here. Happy to be with you guys, and I'm looking forward to see what this evening holds and hearing Matt's unruly opinions.
Oh boy,
it's good to have you here.
Don't tee me up like that.
Part of it. We'll get to that. Next up, listen, this man is taking over the world at the minute, and there is somebody else additional to come in after. But my next guest, who I'm bringing in, is only like 50 miles away. 50 miles away, but he's not the closest of our guests this evening. So in American terms, he's pretty much on my doorstep. And the argument is that he should be like almost sat here, right? And then my next guest should be sat here. We should all be sat in the room, but There might be soon coming on that. We might be working on that, but we'll see. But yeah, look, if you are on TikTok in whatever means, you will have crossed paths with this guy. I have people talk to me who have like friends and family who do not follow me because they're like, I don't want any of that Lego shit. But then like they're like, do you know? And I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, of course I fucking know. So like, he's taken over the world. But I give you none other than Mr. Henry Calvert.
Hi guys. Hi guys. You're so nice,
Hello.
Opie. You're such a nice
How
guy.
much did they pay you to get on this show? Gee whiz.
Matt,
Oh,
I will
God, I
reiterate, I am slightly drunk. So and
no, really.
the agreement is I can't comment about Henry's mother in his comment section for the next 30 days.
Yeah. This is true. This is true. Every video she's in, I get a little eye emoji. You just stay back, you. I'll get the water spray out and just.
I mean, yeah, but less about that, Henry. How are you? It's been a few weeks and months since you were on.
Yeah.
And how I mean, you've been a busy man, but how's it going?
It's good. It's good. I'm very tired at the minute.
I can imagine.
It's like, yeah, it's very, very full on. But no, it's been awesome. It has been a good few months since I was last on. I was the second guest on the Opie-Verse, and then the last time we were on, I think, was at Christmas.
Is it that long since you were on?
I think so. I think it was the Christmas stream because it was with Matt. Matt was there. I remember Matt being there.
Matt's always here.
Yeah.
I live here.
He loves the show. He was talking to me about it. Like he loves the Opie-Verse when we were traveling to Chicago.
Well, it's a good show.
I'm a big
It's a good
fan.
show.
What can I say?
He's a big fan.
I'm
yeah.
working on some t-shirts, and the first one's going to Matt. So
Ooh.
Oh,
Walking billboard for you. There you go.
absolutely. But yeah, Henry, it's I can't believe it's been that long. I know.
I know. It's wild. It seems like ages ago. And the first the second episode of the Opie-Verse where I was on was like my first bit of external from TikTok stuff and things. It was like everything up until that point I've been making videos on TikTok, but then that was like my first like taste of something on YouTube, a bit of an interview or whatever. And yeah, it's weird looking back at kind of like where we're at now.
So funnily enough, Henry, I know you know this because I shared it with you, but for the rest of the guests and everybody watching, funnily enough about that stream, it did quite well at the time because it was the second stream and people were still like really tuning in like hundreds and like at the time, so it was doing really well. But then it had a recent surge, and the reason for that is when I went into my YouTube analytics and found out how people were finding me. Basically, people were Googling Henry Calvert. And because he doesn't really have a YouTube presence, Google being linked to YouTube, it was pushing people to my YouTube channel. So all of a sudden, because it was kind of buried in my channel, I wasn't seeing the views going up and up. And then, I went back and checked and I was like, oh shit, like, cheers, Henry. All I think, Henry, is imagine if you just weren't going out that night. Like that's ultimately.
I know. Imagine it. Yeah, that is the most kind of that video which blew up and which has kind of spawned everything was made on such a whim. It was just I haven't uploaded in 4 days. I've just seen a girl do a getting ready video and I think it's naff, so I'm gonna do my version of it. Like, can you imagine if crazy? Or if I did a different song, if I didn't use Phil Collins, I mean, you know.
Who knows? The good thing is, I think ultimately, Henry, even if because you did the video, it was you, and that's ultimately what came through. Didn't matter what the song was, didn't matter what you wore that night, didn't matter which of your 3 aftershaves you wore. It was always going to be you. So, and it was long overdue. Like in my opinion, it was long overdue. Like, and I'm loving kind of how your channel has progressed since then. I love kind of how you've embraced TikTok without going without doing what TikTok wants you to do. Like, you still don't use sounds, you still don't really use hashtags. You only use hashtags on brand deals. You shouldn't be successful on TikTok because TikTok shouldn't want you to be, but you smash it. And I love it. I'm all for it.
Oh, cheers, man. Thank you.
But anyway, this is not the Henry Calvert show, so we'll stop talking about you now. But it's an honor to have cornered a little piece of your time, because, as I say, I know you're a busy man, and we'll talk about how busy you've been in a minute. But listen, we're going to talk about the newest addition to the Opie-Verse. This man is making his debut. The reason for that is because we've only recently, for how long he's been kind of on social medias, seen him and seen his face. So it's an absolute pleasure to give him his streaming debut in this sort of format. And I look forward to having him on the Opie-Verse very soon. And we can delve into his him and himself and his background and his future a little bit more. But listen, in the meantime, I give you the UK's biggest Lego TikTok creator, Mr. JB Bricks.
Oh my God, it's me. And the crowd went wild. Hello, everybody.
It did indeed. JB, good evening. Welcome. How's it going, mate?
I'm all right. Well, I say I'm all right. I wasn't all right this time a few hours ago, but I'm all right now. I'm all right now. Yeah,
you're the only person from Newcastle who can't handle the drink.
I think I did all right, actually. I think I did all right.
Well, you messed up by not going for a kebab, or at least getting your own pizza instead of stealing someone else's pizza, but never mind.
Oh, well. Yeah, this is very on brand. There we go. Jolly good.
There you go. How's it going though, mate? What have you been up to? I suppose kind of just generally, like what have you been up to? We haven't got a previous conversation to link back to. Like, what have you been up to? How's it been going? Who have you got in the pipeline for your custom Lego minifigure series?
Who I've got in the pipeline for my custom Lego minifigure series is something I discover on the day of I'm about to make a custom Lego minifigure.
Spoiling the illusion, JB. You're spoiling it.
I post my YouTube video, then I scroll through my comments, and then I make someone. It's as easy, it's as simple as that. So there's no planning at all. But no, it's been good. It's been good. We've had good growth on YouTube recently. Good. Nice. TikTok's doing all good. It's all going well.
And on the YouTube stuff, I mean, you've just revealed, I didn't realize until we spoke, because the last time I checked your channel was only a couple of weeks ago, and you're on like 60-odd thousand, but you've hit that milestone, right? And you get a little treat.
110k. I think it's 111 now. Mental.
Very cool.
What an absolute bunch of legends.
And the crowd went wild once again.
But no, yes. So the plaque is in the post. It's being made as we speak. And then I'll do an unboxing video.
In the fires
exactly.
It's
in Mordor.
Do you know, with it being YouTube, like, I wish it was that like in depth and personal, but there's probably like a workflow that you will hit it, and then there's just like a laser cutter and a plaque sat in there, and it just zaps your name in, sticks it in, and away it goes. But it doesn't make it any less special to you.
Exactly. And I need to figure out where to put it. To be fair, I could probably go there actually.
Needs to be in pride place.
Yeah, or maybe
it
just
absolutely does.
Bang in the middle there, hang it, put a nail in some wood. Who knows?
Nice. And it'll go well with like as we know, all of us know on TikTok, as soon as you try and promote any of the channel, they don't like it. So just to have that nice. Just have it nicely sat there, because I've noticed with you, Dom, you say that, and I've noticed you don't talk about YouTube. You just say, like, I've just uploaded a video to my channel.
Yep.
So I picked up on that. I like that little touch. But yeah, there's nothing better.
Gotta dodge and weave the algorithm. You gotta use code words like channel or the IG. It kind of works. But because I remember a few times I'd mention YouTube, and then it would just like cut my views, just nothing.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
It's crazy that it does, but there's nothing better. I wonder if like there'll be like a visual bot that looks for like the YouTube plaque, and it can pick out the signal, and it's just like poof, no, dead. But it certainly stands you an advantage. But if nothing else, JB, it is an absolute pleasure and an honor to give you your streaming debut.
Too kind.
Be your last. Go on, Dom.
No, I can't say that.
Go on, you've got to see it now.
You popped his YouTube cherry.
We did. We did indeed.
It's sad. I told you I didn't want to say it.
There's a story about this. You know, I was going to stream LegoCon on YouTube. I made a thumbnail and everything. I went to go live for the first time. Before you can go live, you have to wait 24 hours. So I clicked go live. It said you have to wait 24 hours, and this was 1 hour away from LegoCon. I was like.
Oh.
So then I messaged Google support trying to see if they could fast track it because it was very important. But no, they weren't having it. They weren't having it.
Do you know I'm the biggest UK Lego TikToker?
Do you know who I am?
I'm JB Brooks.
Yeah, sorry, can I just say, first time I meet JB. Hi, I'm JB Bricks. I'm the biggest Lego TikTok creator.
No, shut up. That is not
Just
true.
that. Just that.
That is not true. I went, oh my god, it's Henry Calvert.
First impressions out the window. Now we're besties. Yeah, brilliant.
Love it. It's actually, funnily enough, it's on his LinkedIn profile as well. But
I know it has LinkedIn. I don't know, but if I did, it would be.
it's absolutely not worth having. It's ridiculous. Well, but hey, let's get back on brand. Matt, Dom, how was Chicago, and even more so, Matt, how salty were you that Dom beat you to the front of the queue at the Lego store on that morning? Because you got there early, but Dom got there even earlier.
We had some fun. We had some fun.
that
We
was
had
an
some
interesting
lawn
morning.
chairs that we were all sitting on. It was Dom, myself, and Slego. And just that.
You know what Slego looks like now, then?
It's out there.
Oh,
No,
did he?
it's
Oh, is it?
I saw some stuff
out
on
there.
Instagram with
It's
his
out
If you go
there.
to like
Yeah, it's
Instagram
out
or
there.
Mini Superheroes Today's vlogs, you can find his face. And I mean, he wanted it not to be a big deal if it happened, if he got face reveal, whatever is what it is. But it's more of just like there's him and then there's Slego. So it's definitely like a persona that there is out there. But
I didn't know that
that's really
because I
cool.
saw one of your pictures with him and he had the goggles on.
Mhm.
I
He
was
tries
like,
to
"No
wear
way."
them for the photos. He tries to put the goggles
Yeah.
on just because it's fun. It's a really cool thing that he has going for him, and
Well, it's
makes
brand
him.
identity.
It's
isn't it?
yeah, that too. It's his
Yeah.
brand. It's really cool.
Rather than us
Nice.
taking the time to blur out all of the pictures, it just felt like, if people know, they know. He didn't seem too set on it staying a secret. So as long as he does it on his own, that's cool too.
Nice.
We had
Was
a lot
that-
of fun. We spent a lot though at
We
the Lego
did.
store.
Oh well, no, we just. I mean, we all hit that GWP limit, and then
Mhm.
once we hit that, we went, we dipped.
Yeah, that threshold was not actually very hard to meet.
No.
Dom, I don't know if you want to shout about what you got. I got the Optimus Prime, so I'm very happy
Nice.
about that.
I didn't realize that was expensive as it was.
Yeah.
I
It's a
because
big set.
I saw it leaked and it felt like it was leaked and then released and leaked and then promoted and then released pretty quick.
It was
So
quick.
It was very quick.
and I'd never seen the price and I was like, shit, that's like expensive. So is it like $100 for you guys?
No, it's like one.
160.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it just met the
Ouch.
gift with purchase threshold.
Hey,
so-
Fazoom, what's
Fazoom.
going on?
A Zoom.
Love
We got to
Fazoom.
meet Fazoom at Chicago as well.
Oh, nice.
Such a nice guy. Such a nice guy.
He is indeed.
I
you
ended
get,
up
Dom?
getting. I got the T-Rex set where he flips the Jeep. It's like that little diorama thing.
Yeah.
I got the 50th anniversary classic set with all the micro builds. I mainly just got that for the little Bionicle in there, and then I got some BAM figure parts, and then that put me at like 160. I think that put me at like 170, and then I got my GWP, and I was gone. I was out of there.
Yep.
So yeah, just a few bits. Just a few.
Just a
bits.
few things. Just a few things.
Not so he didn't bother this time with any like balaclava Jango Fett's, no.
There was one at the convention that he almost bought, but
so
you know,
close. I couldn't.
it was
pull the
only
trigger on it.
$600.
I probably could have talked it out of 5, but I ended
Just
up
for the
getting
figure.
Yeah.
But they want to haggle. That's the thing. You
Yeah.
have, if you're going to a
Gotta
convention,
haggle. You
you
gotta
have
put
to
that.
haggle.
It's the art of the deal.
Just say, do you know who I am? I'm Matt Mellish.
No,
We can
man,
promote your business. I'll make a video with you.
I'll make a
in it.
TikTok for you right now, bro. I swear, I'll do it.
That's worth at least $1,000, surely.
Yeah, indeed. Well, glad you guys had fun. Now you can't see them meeting each other because that would be just a cop out. But what was your highlight of Chicago?
Do you want to go first, Matt?
It's just so general for me. It's like meeting all of the people there. Like, really, a Lego convention is about the Lego, obviously, but it's more about the fans of Lego and being able to interact with other people who you might have seen briefly online, but then actually having a conversation with them in person. That's what, I don't know. Those meaningful connections is what it's all about. But I do have some favorite moments, although they will be kept
in the
private.
Portillos.
They will be kept private. A lot of inside jokes. A lot of. Let's just say
inside jokes.
Here's a good one. Here's a good one. So we were walking back into the convention. It's like 12 at night, midnight, and Sluggo looks over at us and goes, "Guys, have you ever just thought about door handles?" And I'm like, what are you drinking? What is wrong
It
with
was
you?
so random. It was great. It was like,
to be fair, he is studying
marijuana
architecture.
was legal in Illinois.
That is so funny.
I think it is. I think it might be, but
there you go.
I don't think he had any of that. Not under my watch, at least, because I was trying to keep the boys tame. But
He didn't do that good of a job.
I did.
I would say, I think my favorite moment, to kind of piggyback off what Matt said, was just meeting the people and getting recognized by people that watch your stuff and support you. That's crazy. To see someone like online and then to meet them in person, or to watch someone and follow their channel and then have an actual conversation with them is incredible. I mean, Matt and I had a chance to be a part of one of Ryan's videos that's going to be coming up. So that was cool. And that was just a bunch of creators.
Is it Ryan now, is it?
Yeah.
Man Doctor.
Sorry. Yeah, Man Doctor. But it was so cool. It was a lot of fun just to meet up with other Lego TikTokers like Power and Archer, Aaron and John. It was so nice meeting them. And it was just a lot of fun.
John as beautiful as he looks.
He really is. He really is. We're planning on going to Virginia together. I really am. I will be bunking together. So,
oh God,
I'm so excited. Highlight of my year.
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad you had fun. I know you've touched on Virginia there, which is it's still a little while away. But yeah, I am very envious of what you guys. I saw as well. Ethan is packing up ready for Brick Rodeo. You guys are blessed with them, and I would love to do a bit of a tour with those. So, any plans? I'm guessing not this year, but would you guys ever plan to head down there, or is it just a convention too far?
I was looking at flights, but the thing is, if I was doing Chicago and then Virginia, it's just not only the money, but the amount of energy that it sucks out of you.
Down, isn't it? So it's not even like they link up well.
No. It would be a bit of to do I'm capping it off at 2 conventions for now. Maybe next year I'll hit up Rodeo, but to do Chicago and Virginia and then have Brick Rodeo in the middle, it's a little too much for Dom. I don't think I can handle that right now. Maybe next year though.
It's nice, yeah. Maybe next year. It's nice to be a part of it though, and I'm glad you guys had fun. And hopefully I'll be a part of it next year with you. But listen, talking of conventions, there is only one that's peak, right? And our boy, Mr. Henry Calvert, not only managed to attend, but was invited at the behest. Is behest the right word? I don't know. Of Disney.
The demand.
Of the demand of Disney. Henry, come on. Star Wars Celebration. How was it? Look. Like, what more do you need?
Choco.
What more do you need?
Exactly. I met Choco. I met Element 7.
It's not even
I met
Choco.
Mesa
It's Henry.
Windu.
It's just Choco now. So
well, last name basis. I met Element 7. Mesa Windu was there. We all went to this pub, like a bar for drinks.
A cantina. I mean,
cantina. Yeah. But celebration was mind blowing. Truly surreal, honestly, just being there. Everyone was lovely. And honestly, it kind of restored my faith in the Star Wars fandom, if anything, because we can get quite toxic.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
What?
But no, going there and just feeling nothing but love for a franchise which means the world to me was incredible. I mean, John Williams was there, Harrison Ford was there. It was like, I'm sat in this massive room with these people. It was it just my mind exploded, and it was truly joyous.
Nice. I mean, it looked incredibly fun, and I can't wait for London next year. I 100% have to be there. I'm guessing, Nathan, you're going.
Oh yeah,
but
I'll be there.
Yeah,
I'll be there.
but Henry, I mean, even if you weren't invited, Henry, would you get to London next year?
Yeah, I'll be at London next year. I've never been huge on the convention scene. I went to MCM last year.
Well, give people a chance. They're only just getting to know you, So like,
yeah. I've only ever done MCM once, and then Celebration. So conventions never really been my thing. But now that I went to Celebration and kind of realized what it's all about, I'll be at Celebration next year, definitely. For certain.
Nice. It's I just think next year is like it's unreal, and I know they've done it in the past, but it just feels like because of the pandemic, it brought a lot of people back, and like the community feels very different place, probably from both perspectives, but yeah, it's just nothing like it. But more recently, you were not just the convention, you were invited somewhere in the UK, along with our other guest down there. It's like Celebrity Squares, to celebrate the launch of Lightyear. I got my own little treat on that. We touched on that, but like nothing. I didn't get a D out like you guys, But how was that?
JB, do you want to go first?
Oh, I'll go first. How kind of you, Henry Calvert. No, it was very exciting. It was good. We got to meet some amazing people, sort of like you guys at the convention. We met. Basically, my For You page was in a room all of a sudden. It was like, I've made you out of Lego. I've made you out of Lego. I've made you out of Lego. And it was just like, oh, that's pretty cool. So no, yeah, definitely good, 100%.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to connect with mutuals who you've kind of been in contact with for however long, and then all of a sudden you're in a room with them and you get to give them a hug. It's such a surreal feeling. But no, it was a lot of fun. We did some mild space ranger training, and yeah, a bit of space ranger training. It was boiling.
Are you guys certified space rangers now? Like, did you guys get that license?
Oh, definitely.
Congratulations!
100%.
Wow.
The little ball catching games that we did definitely gave us that certification.
Oh, yeah.
Not that we managed to catch the ball, but
yeah, Andrew did. Andrew Visuals did, but the rest of us no.
It
was good fun. It was
He's
boiling,
been at
though,
this game for years. So
the Space Center is just a massive balloon, and like I don't know if you've ever seen it, but the Space Center is just like this massive, just plastic sphere almost, and it was sweltering. But yeah,
it wasn't the wait for it.
But all of the Lightyear stuff that went on last week was awesome. Really cool to be a part of.
Nice. We're glad you had fun. That's for sure. Glad you had fun. Nathan, really don't want to leave you out, but I know you haven't been to any of these, but I know you're preparing to go to London Film and Comic Con.
Yeah.
I think, if I'm right in thinking, there was some kind of news, some exciting news about that with guests and stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
so if anyone's been on the Stranger Things site, they just announced Eddie, who's a fan favorite at the minute. So he'll be there. I'll be meeting him, getting an autograph. I think he's going to be really, really popular. So I'd be lucky to get one, to be honest. But yeah, that's awesome for Stranger Things fans and just for the convention in general. That's in a couple of weeks now. So there's a few Star Wars people going that I'll meet. The performance actor for Queel and Frog Lady and the Mandalorian's going there. So I'm going to get a couple of Funko Pops signed, which will be awesome. But yeah, Comic-Con, great to be back there again. And I can't wait to get there.
Nice. What date is that?
8th of July, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Nice.
try and do a lot of content whilst I'm there as well to make the most out of it. Try and get myself out there. Make a bit of content, do some interview style sort of stuff. Just branching out a bit.
Well, interestingly, I know we're here to talk about Kenobi, and we'll get onto that. And once we get into Kenobi, we'll stay on Kenobi until we go. But I know, Matt, you'd commented, I think in one of your videos, and you'd said, like, look, you ended up not making that much content because you just really enjoyed the con side of it, and
Yep.
you really want to immerse yourself in it. I feel the same, like whether I go to Celebration or if I make it to MCM later this year. And I actually think Choco commented on it as well, to see, like, look, there's kind of so much more to it. So what I would say to you, Nathan, is I know you're kind of, as we talked about last week, you've kind of blown up overnight and you're on a rapid rise, and it's great. And it's great to be part of that. But at the same time, don't put pressure on yourself to feel the need to create content. If it feels natural, go with it, do it, but don't go there thinking I need to get, because I've done it. When I've gone and done various things, like even like May the 4th launches, and I need to go and I need to create all this content. You don't. Most importantly is you having fun and enjoying it. But it sounds like you're going to do that. So for sure.
Oh yeah.
And anyway, gentlemen, should we talk about Kenobi?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Matt, you're going last. Well, listen, look, let's talk about episode 6 first, and then just kind of it finishing the series off. Let's talk about that episode, and then we can kind of broaden out into the series itself. For you guys who were watching live, appreciate you being here with us. First of all, hit that like button. Just
hit that like button.
Yeah, that like button. But secondly, I've just launched a poll into the chat asking, and we'll kind of come onto this ourselves as we talk about the series, but not quite yet. Do we feel the Kenobi series was right as it was? It should have been an all-in-one day drop. So we should have, a bit like what they do with Stranger Things, or it should have been a movie. And let's get your thoughts on that. It's opinion based. There are no right or wrong answers, and we can discuss from that. Gives the panel a bit of time to think on that as we get into it, and then we'll start to bring that to life, and then we'll bring your comments into it as well as we get into that side of it. But Dom, let's come to you. What episode 6? Do you feel like what were your thoughts?
Putting me first on the spot. Okay, let's go. Well, episode 6 definitely. I thought it was a great finale. I have a few gripes with it, but overall, I think it was really good. I wish there was a little bit more lightsaber fighting.
Is that in general, or because of what we got was so good?
It was in general, just throughout the entire show. I was hoping to see, I was talking with some buddies of mine, and we theorized that Obi-Wan at one point would fight the Grand Inquisitor when he came back, because everyone knew he was going to come back eventually, but we didn't get to see that. But I thought the Vader versus Obi-Wan scene was very, very meaningful and very impactful, because it was kind of like the Dual Fates again, but for the New Hope, and it was really good. I liked it.
Nice, nicely well put. Do you think they closed off the series well? Are you happy with how it finished ultimately?
I guess I'm content with how it finished. I think they could have done more. I wish we kind of got Qui-Gon a little bit earlier, but it was good to see him, because I was getting to a point where I was a little scared that we might not just see him.
I just heard Matt's eyes roll there, by the
way. But no, I think it was, all things considered, I think the finale was okay. I think it was good. Like how they ended
honest,
it, I think it was good.
Be honest, Dom.
I mean, there was no Django or Boba Fett, so for you, it's already marked down
like 2 points. I mean, no Django, no Boba. We had one clone reference. Was that it? Where's Cody? Huh? No, it was.
Well, he's in the Bad Batch, so
yeah, he's in the Bad Batch. I can't wait for that. That looks exciting.
Nice. Well, I appreciate your input. I think, do you know, when you think of it, it's kind of taking yourself out of it. I think how it was going to end, was it ever going to be mind-blowing when we know where all of these people were going to end up anyway? There were only a select few of characters that we hadn't really seen before, that, you know, we knew that we didn't know kind of how they were going to end. And like, so it's tough to really kind of like change the game on that. And if they had tried to change something too much, the fandom would have went off.
Just decided to kill Luke.
Yeah, it's just like,
is Rob gonna kill Luke?
Yeah. But yeah,
no, it definitely is tricky with the show because, you know, we know where these characters are gonna be at the end of it. So how much can they use these characters to their potential before the show's over? Because we know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right.
I agree. And I think that was kind of always a bit of a crux going into it, is it would be somewhat limited. But they did all right, I think. So I think you can kind of pick at it, but I just heard Matt's eyes roll again. So yeah. JB, what did you think?
See, I was recording myself as I was watching it, just in case I ever decide to do a reaction video. Even though I don't really think you can put them on YouTube, really, can you? Because then you'll get copyright struck. But so I've got, for all of the episodes, I've got videos of my reactions throughout. Some of them there's a lot of this, some of them there's a lot of, some of them there's all sorts. But
so what you're saying is, JB, after you've watched the episode, you then just sit and watch a 45-minute video of you
of myself. Yes, just
love it.
I whacked that into Premiere. Get it? Yeah. Anyway, I watched back the final episode. There were tears flowing. You could see the tears. It was like, oh God, what's going on?
Yeah, I teared up a little bit. Forgot to mention that. I did.
There were on the footage. You can see tears dripping down my face.
It's pretty emotional. That fight scene. It was just like
it was.
There was a lot. There was a lot weighing on that last fight between those.
Especially
two, so.
when he got his helmet cracked open. You could see his eye. Then it was like that. That was like, oh no, what's this happening to my heart? Killing it. But yeah, no, it was. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. And then the whole, you know, when the Inquisitor lady, whose name I've forgotten, Rhea. Is that her name? Rava. There you go. I know my Star Wars. You know, when she was walking towards Owen and Baru, and then oh yeah, she's totally gonna kill them, isn't she? No, because they're alive. But I guess we did see how he got his limp, I guess, which I thought was quite interesting, because after she threw him off the little platform, then he was limping. So
I've always wondered about that origin story, you know. How did Owen Lars get his limp?
Like, how did
it's always been an itch
limp?
I can't scratch.
Ever since watching A New Hope, I was always wondering where did he get that limp come from? You know, like how did he? What's the story behind that? It's got to be deeper than just him tripping on something.
The hours of fan fiction that I have read about that limp.
There's a whole like Reddit just about his limp, and it's just now it's solved.
Well, there you go. Exactly. So shout out to Deborah for sorting that out. I think that's her name. The director, that is. But yes, there we go. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Nice
and you know, you had the whole. I enjoyed. Well, I think Lola in general was just like, we're going to sell some toys here, but then that kind of relates to Paul.
So, because it's Disney, right? And it's Star Wars. Like George Lucas has done that since year one. However, what I would say, and I don't know if you've seen it, there was an image of Carrie Fisher as a child with a pet bird, like a little budgie, and the budgie was called Lola. So it is cool. In homage to her and to that. And no doubt they will capitalize on it 100% without doubt. But
Matt and I
did like that
saw
little touch.
They're at a Brickworld. Someone already recreated a Lola to scale out of Lego. It was fantastic.
Great mock.
Awesome. I know that as well. I know Hasbro's releasing because I saw it at Celebration that like I've seen a Lola toy, and I assume we'll get like a Hot Toys Lola, and we'll get all these other ones, which is fair enough. I quite like the design, if anything.
Obi, you might want to check out the comments.
Yeah, I was just gonna private.
What the heck is happening in your chat?
Must be a good stream.
Exactly.
Hey, you gotta bring in all the different, you know.
That's one of my subs right there. Jesus.
I appreciate you bringing your friends in there, Jimmy.
No worries, I've got you.
Oh dear. dear. It is always a good sign that the stream's going well, though. But yeah, never mind. Have I got them all? I hope I've got them all. I think, I don't know. Never mind. It's all right. Just don't click on the link, kids. I think they still show on some, but they'll go
G-rated content, man.
Not here, Matt. Not here.
You're in the wrong live show, boy.
No. This is Cad Bane territory over here.
We ain't in Pennsylvania no more.
Oh, indeed. Nathan, over to you. So we were talking about the series as a whole last week, and then obviously to where we are now. But how was the last episode for you?
I think it's gone nicely because I'm a big prequels fan myself. So to see Anakin and Obi-Wan, well, Darth Vader and Obi-Wan fighting out together again with a proper duel this time, unlike the first one, it was nice to see. I liked the parallel from Rebels. You know, Rebels, we got the one side of his helmet cut open. Kenobi, we got the other side, so it sort of completes his face. We know what he's like under the helmet. The links to their final battle in Revenge of the Sith as well. I think the dialogue was quite similar there. Obviously, that was done intentionally. I think that worked really well. Yeah, as a whole, I really enjoyed it. The end, I did jump up out of my seat. Oh my God, Qui-Gon! So I'm very excited about that. And I think it leaves it open for a lot in the future. I think we could definitely get a Reva series about her sort of redemption arc. I think we could probably get some more content about Roken, I believe was his name, because conversation between him and Kenobi, he said he was only just getting started. So I think that's setting something up there. And obviously, following on into season 2, we got Kenobi's training to become a Force Ghost. So I think it's left it very open. And I don't think Disney's short on any ideas for more Star Wars content. That's not going anywhere.
No, I agree. And sometimes it's like, oh, do they leave it open? And because obviously they just look at potential of future content. And so I think Boba more so, I would have liked it to have been a bit of a closed series, but they're not going. They're clearly just kind of looking to see. I can see a Lola series. Hey, Ethan, nice to have you along. And do you know what, Ethan? We'll talk about this in a while when we get to the Lego section. But yeah, absolutely, and I would expect that absolutely from you. But yeah, they do leave things quite open-ended in that respect. Mr. Calvert, what were your thoughts on episode 6 and just how the series ended as a whole?
I was quite happy. I mean, for me, I'm not a big prequels fan. So I didn't go in with. I know the horror. But
how dare you?
I didn't go in with any massive kind of expectations to see Liam Neeson or the series having Hayden and Ewan back meant a lot more to other people essentially. So I didn't have that high expectations, but the finale was very good. In my opinion, I enjoyed it a lot. I love the fight scene. I love the dialogue between Obi-Wan and Anakin, or Vader. I like the Owen and Beru stuff, like Owen and Beru kicking ass on
nice.
The farm. I was like, go on, this is sick.
As unnecessary that it was, in my opinion, it was still cool to see.
Yeah. I mean, I respect Owen and Beru Lars a hell of a lot more now than I did before. Owen's no longer just some grumpy old guy. Like, he's ace.
At least we know why he's grumpy now and how he got his limp.
Because he got the limp.
that damn limp.
Yeah. I loved it. I love the finale.
The one thing I will say, I think the actor who played Owen was brilliant. I think throughout, more at the beginning and then back in at the end. There were times, particularly in episode 6, where I saw the original Uncle Owen, and I thought he was brilliant in that respect. probably hasn't done his career any harm whatsoever. So yeah, maybe we'll get like a Lars spin-off. You know, but like a family sitcom.
Trying to fix the limb.
They're just like
The
farming
hunt for
on
a Bacta tank.
Tatooine, and it's
Let's get that evaporator working. Come on.
It's like the least Star Wars series ever. Just like almost like, I don't know, what's like a family-based sitcom, but basically
Full
that.
House, but it's just
Like,
the three
on
of them.
top
Like
of
Little
Yeah.
House on the Prairie, but Tatooine edition.
Exactly that.
Little House in the Dune Sea.
What more could you ask for? But yeah, Henry, happy with it? Happy with what you got?
Yeah, very happy with what I got. Yeah, sorry, Matt. I was over the moon.
No. Look, I wish I enjoyed it as much as you did. We'll put it that
Are
way.
we talking episode 6 here, Matt, or are we talking the series as a whole?
Well,
Go off.
everything leads up until episode 6. So
Open a can of beans.
it can
as Matt
only
loves.
be as good as the rest of the series, in my opinion. No, seriously though, I really wanted to like the show so much that like I went in with as little expectation as possible as I could. But with the name Kenobi, that brings a lot of emotion with it. And I don't think that overall the series delivered that feeling as it had promised originally. And for something to be called, what was it, the rematch of the century by Kathleen Kennedy, I was a bit, I bought into that a little bit. I think a lot of people did. And for me personally,
you know that she's like the head Lucas
Marketer.
Yeah, go carefully here.
no, but just for me personally, it wasn't that. And I think it could have been very easily, just with some minor tweaks. Like the shaky cam was really bothering me in terms of the cinematography and the way the series looked as a whole. I thought that it was a little cheap. It felt fan made. It did not feel like necessarily how Star Wars should be shot. I don't think there was a single wipe or fade in this show as well. I don't know if they've completely gotten rid of them with the series. And I understand that every series should kind of have its own look and feel, but it threw me off a bit.
I think on just to comment on the fan made stuff, I think it was episode 3. I really felt that, which was the one where they're on the planet and then they end up with the stormtroopers and the character, where basically they meet Tala. That for me did feel very fan made, even, and dare I say it, because at the time it was good. It certainly looked good in parts, but the bit where the first encounter with Vader, and there was Vader walking down that street and pulling people in,
That was insane.
snapping kids' necks and stuff. And you're like, what? But the part where then Vader was directly hunting Kenobi and he was kind of coming out of the shadows, like, look, he never runs. He's got a breathing apparatus that makes him very loud. He shouldn't kind of come out of the shadows. But there was a particular point where he was kind of looking one direction and then Kenobi was like in the alleyway and then Vader looked and Kenobi was gone. That part particular, I remember watching it and thought, ooh, that didn't look or feel quite right in that it felt very fan made in that respect. So I think that was that one episode where I really connected with that feeling. I think I then got over it, but there were parts of it but I do take your point that Kenobi it's the peak, right? It's like peak Star Wars. It should get that kind of broader, it should get a lot more kind of service internally and scrutiny before it's pushed out.
It almost felt like a Michael Myers chase scene.
Exactly.
Michael Myers, he never runs. Vader never runs. I mean,
but he's always there.
But he just appears.
Yeah.
Instead of a knife, it's a saber.
But with episode 6, Matt, like, are you content with like the story? Are you?
So yes and no. I'm a bit. The only way I can describe it, and I've never really described anything like this because it's more of like what the kids are saying these days. But I'm just mid on the whole thing.
It's mid.
The whole thing is just, for me at least, and like I said, if you love the series, props to you. Like, I wish I enjoyed it as much as you guys do. But for me personally, it just, and maybe this is me, Henry, being a prequels fan, right? Because that's what I grew up with. That's what I love most. I'm a big Clone Wars guy. I liked Rebels a lot more than this series, to be honest. I thought the way they did the Ahsoka Vader duel was far better than this Kenobi Vader duel. It's like, for me, Revenge of the Sith on Mustafar, going from that to a New Hope duel, that's all I really needed. I didn't need this duel in the middle, or the two duels, I guess, that we got to supplement that. Because the one thing that I did think they missed out on as well was, well, the line in Return of the Jedi when Vader tells Luke, when he's trying to turn him to the light, Obi-Wan once thought as you did. We never really got that. We got that as much as we did in Revenge of the Sith, if anything. I didn't feel like it really gave the whole series, and the ending especially, because it all leads up to that point, never did it justice for like the reason for why we needed this series. And then just kind of like going off just a little bit, the hello there dialogue was extremely fan servicey for me. Yes, I gave a fist bump, but at the same time, it's like it was so hollow. I would have much rather have seen the conversation.
You just hope he said, "What up, my G?"
Hey, yo, what's poppin', bro? How you living?
Well, is it his catchphrase? Because in Star Wars, it never really felt that way. It just felt like a greeting. It didn't necessarily feel like his shtick. Where now it feels like almost a catchphrase that has been drawn out from memes and that culture.
Yeah.
And then I also thought the Qui-Gon Force Ghost, as much as I was waiting to see him the entire time, it was at the least meaningful moment that they could have ever put it in.
Yeah, I was expecting it when Kenobi was underneath the rocks. This was Qui-Gon's like, Qui-Gon, any second now he's going to be like, he used the Force or strength and think about Luke and Leia, and then he'd lift the rocks up, but we didn't see that. And I was a little disappointed that we didn't see that.
So, my take on that. And a lot of people have been throughout the series like, why is Qui-Gon not appeared? He's clearly going to appear because they were building up to it. The whole point being is that connection in the Force was not there yet for him to do that. It wasn't about Qui-Gon, it was about Kenobi not being strong enough to see him there. So, and at that moment under the rocks, he was still emotionally broken about Anakin Vader. It was then when he escaped and then confronted Vader one more time, broke the mask, and he almost kind of forgive himself in that moment when Anakin or when Vader had said, like, look, I am not your failure. I killed Anakin. It was at that moment he gave himself up, and it was that weight lifted off his shoulders, which was the final redemption. Because I think that's how I look at it. It was Kenobi's redemption, and it was his redemption back to being the Kenobi that we know and then go on to know. And it was at that moment that really unlocked the door for him to then connect with Qui-Gon again. That's how I perceive that point.
Yeah. I agree. I agree completely. And still for me, like, I love the explanation, but the execution was just, for me, not there.
Yeah. The one thing I will say about the hello there part, so there is an absolute element of fan service, but he does say it as Ewan and he does say it as Alec Guinness. The one thing I liked, and I don't know if anybody else picked up on it, and I haven't seen this mentioned, but at that point when he returned to Leia and Bail Organa at the very end, Ewan started to work on his Alec Guinness voice. So he just sounded a little bit more grufflier, and the accent had changed because he was very fake English at the beginning, and he just kind of he'd hardened his voice a little bit more, sounded more English than he ever had. But he did sound more Alex Guinness than ever. So I don't know if anybody else picked up, but I thought that he'd really started to then bridge the gap into old Ben Kenobi, which I liked.
Yeah.
Henry, you and nodding. You would, if anybody's going to pick up on it, it's going to be the classic actor in Henry Calvert-Hughes.
I did notice that. I really like Ewan's performance throughout the whole, especially in the final Vader fight scene. I mean, the acting was incredible. I wish we saw. I don't know in what capacity or how we'd see this, but I like that we heard some of Hayden's voice mixed with James Earl Jones's. There was
That
little bits
was
of that.
terrifying and like
That was
shook
really
me to
really
my
cool.
core.
Yeah,
Honestly, the
that
way
kind
they
of
pulled that
mixture
off
of
was
it,
incredible. Yeah.
and I also really like that even in some of James Earl Jones's delivery, it sounded more Hayden Christensen. Like the way that Hayden delivers is almost I don't want to say petulant, but that kind of vibe. It wasn't just Vader from the original trilogy. It's like similar to Ewan bridging that gap. I feel like they were bridging that gap with Vader as well, almost.
Yeah.
Yes, and I really like that. I just kind of wish there was a bit more of Hayden, because as much as I'm not much of a prequels fan, I would have loved to have just in some way, even if it's more flashbacks or in a back to tank, just seeing him do something. I don't know. I would have liked that.
No, I agree. I think if anything else, we talk about redemption. This was really Hayden's redemption as well. Like he's come back at a time when he is really adored and he is wanted, and then he's come back and delivered a performance like that. James Earl Jones definitely had his back, and one thing I picked up was James Earl Jones sounded more sprightly than he has done as Vader for quite some time, which I hope they've just got James Earl Jones in a sound booth, just recording every combination of words that there is, just because who knows how long he'll be around with us, but there will be a point when he is no longer able to offer that sort of level of.
He's like in his 90s, right?
Yeah,
he must be. He was old when he did Vader in '77.
Yeah,
So,
we've been blessed to have him as long as we have, honestly.
yeah, truly.
It must be the longest running performance of a single character. It must be. There can't be anybody who's played a character for 45 years now. Oh, they're back.
They're back.
Oh, come on.
The messages are back.
Get out of here. We're talking about Star Wars. Get out of here.
Come back at the
You're
end
the
when the
wrong
streams are
audience.
finished. Give people a place to go. But
I've got a question. What did you guys think that they should have de-aged Hayden and Ewan when for the flashback scenes? Because I was expecting it, and then it was like, okay, we've got this Anakin here, but he's looking about 40s or whatever.
That I've just come to like. Anytime they try to de-age someone, it always looks off, and it's one of those things where like I've learned to just look past it and just try to ignore the fact that it's they're in their 40s, they're like middle age. It's just we see them for who they are rather than what they actually look like, if that makes any sense. Because if you look at like Luke from The Mandalorian season 2, dude looked off. There was some not good bits, and I think technology just isn't where it's at right now for them to do that de-aging and make it look flawless.
I'll go last on this. Anybody got anything to offer?
It did take me out of it. Yeah, it took me out of it. Like I was
I'd agree.
excited, and then I'm like,
Why is he
something
old?
that isn't right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
And I mean, considering you go on, Nathan.
Oh, thank you. I don't know if you two would have, Henry and Opie, you'd have seen it in the chat in the Discord. What Alice said, the fact that Hayden does look older is because that flashback is meant to be through Vader's eyes. So it's the fact that Anakin always thought of himself as much older than he was. So maybe the flashback, and he hasn't been de-aged, is showing that he does think he's older than he is, and you can sort of see it in that as well. And she also said there was no cars around in Coruscant, so he wasn't focusing on that. I can't remember what else Alice mentioned about it, but
they were definitely two of the main points. But the cars really because the point is that he's so focused on Kenobi, which is then ultimately what's the kind of the point, isn't it? Is that he can't see past Kenobi, and they've got an opportunity to basically stamp out the rebel cell, and he chases Kenobi. But yeah, it's that focus, and I totally missed it until I saw that.
Are we sure that it is through Vader's eyes, because I was thinking it was
I was
Kenobi, because
same.
Kenobi was recalling it in like the cave system when it was all kicking off. He was like had a flashback there as well, didn't he? When he ultimately won, and that's like what Kenobi's mindset was. This is how I'm going to defeat him. I've done it before. Oh look, here's a flashback. That's
seems
how
as
I
though
was seeing it.
the way for me that it was directed, it was they've been connected throughout the series, and they were kind of sharing the same memory in the same instance, and maybe both of them had a different take on that moment as it all evolved. But I also, maybe this is a challenge, but are we adding meaning to scenarios that weren't necessarily intended to have that meaning, like in determination as it was being created?
I think what is, I think to where it is lacking, Matt, is it's not clear which way it is.
Right.
It's not clear. It's not 100%, because I didn't think about that until I saw that explanation. I was like, that totally makes sense. But as we know, like literally an episode can finish and 5 minutes later, somebody has gone deep on it and given out an explanation. So people are out there actively trying to offer things. And I don't know. I unless it comes from the director and stuff. And there is I'm kind of on the fence of that, but I did like that explanation. And Nathan and I were talking about it last week when we were on here, and I was criticizing that. It's like, why, with all of the technology, de-aging and Dom, to your point, is, with the Mando season 2, it's far more difficult to overlay a face on a different person, but on the same person with the same facial structure, it is easier to do that. So I think they could have done that. So I'd like to think there's a better method behind it, but it definitely wasn't apparent for me when watching it. And it wasn't clear for me as who was in the way that Kenobi was interpreting in it. It did feel more like his flashback, because Vader was interpreting it less, it felt at the time. Right. So I think if that's what they were shooting towards, it didn't feel like that's what it wasn't clear that that's what they were shooting towards. But at the same time, that explanation is almost beautiful in that, because that was Anakin. He always thought more of himself than others, particularly Mace Windu.
No, I really like that too as well. And I think we should be having the conversations like this to be able to unpack it in a sense. And sometimes I think that as fans, we can add more meaning into what the art has been created to be. And I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah. I mean, it's like studying English at school. We have no idea what Shakespeare intended in his book. But
what was that guy thinking? What was going through his head?
Yeah.
Now we just have to just think ourselves and try to dissect what he meant and along the show.
Yeah, and I like the fact that everyone can gain something different out of the same scene, and it's quite beautiful. And if it does wind you up, then you can make up your own thing and have your own version of Star Wars. And I guess that's why Star Wars is kind of so divisive, is because we all have our own theories and our own interpretations of it. And if anything, that's quite beautiful, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
The problem
it could
is,
just be shoddy storytelling. Maybe it should be a more complex, well-written script. Yeah, but I prefer the more beautiful aspects of it.
I think the problem is, to your point, Henry, I totally agree with what you're saying there. For so long, George Lucas, it's all George Lucas's fault. He let us down for so long by not giving it. We're looking now and how much Star Wars content we have and how much we're getting. This is the future, right? It will never stop. And I'm all for it. That whole universe is to be explored. And I don't know if any of you saw Taika Waititi's comments to say it's going to be Star Wars universe, but whole new characters. It's about time we get into a whole other perspective of the galaxy. Can't wait for that. But I just think it's the expanded universe, which is now Legends. A lot of fans have kind of gone down that road, and that is Star Wars to them. And they conflict with each other about, no, this is the version, this is my version. But it's always that Legends versus canon perspective. And people need to get over it and be like, look, there are multiple versions of this, and this is the canon version. And, Legends is fine, but it's not canon. And what is canon? You can't criticize it by comparing it two legends because it's whole of the universes. But yeah, it's all ultimately it's all George Lucas's fault
Yeah.
for not.
I've always seen like legends and canons, like you're comparing an apple to an orange. They're both fruit, but they're still very different.
Yeah.
I'm going to print that off and put that in a t-shirt, Dom.
Hey,
The whole thing.
Hey, hold on a second. I'll be okay with that. Just give me a little cutback. I need to spend some money on that.
Oh yeah, because you don't have enough
Right.
Lego there.
I'm just going to go
I don't. It will never be enough. It'll never
1
be
hour
enough.
10 minutes. Remind me of that because that's going to become a TikTok.
Let's do it.
No, it's it's one of them. Delving into some of the characters, I'm going to go open format and give people a chance to shout out before I start picking on people. Reva, as a whole, who would like to go first?
Great
Dom.
hair.
Her character just felt very like it's great character. It just felt unnecessary and out of place. Like if she wasn't in Kenobi, I don't think it's hard. I don't think it would have been that much of a difference. Like instead of like having Reva, the Grand Inquisitor, in her place, felt more sense. That's what I expected out of the show.
Or a known Inquisitor, or
that too.
Yeah.
And it's like it just felt Reva throughout the entire time just felt completely, not to be mean, but pointless and just out of place and unnecessary because it could have been simply someone else or not that person at all. Like I don't like when
as well.
It was very predictable.
predictable.
Like when she's in the canyon with Luke, we know she's not gonna kill him. What is the point of that scene? I mean, it's kind of cool to see what happened to a youngling during Order 66 and what happened after. It's just cool. Make it a comic book. I don't know. Don't put time slot in our show that we get every once in a while. I mean,
and I hope. So we touched upon it earlier, but I hope, in a way, she doesn't get her own series because I'm not really invested in that character.
That too. It's just
To
like
to Moses Ingram. I would say this across the board. I think the acting in this series was fantastic. Like nobody let the side down, and it was a star, fantastic. But yeah, that character, I'm not particularly invested in her, and I just hope they didn't use this as a bit of, as they've done in the past, as a plot device to kind of take her off and do her own thing. Okay, so question: would you prefer that she died?
yes.
Yeah.
I would prefer if Star Wars didn't need to write an annoying character in the show. I mean, I hate when shows do
that is her character though. Like she's supposed to be annoying.
She's a Pong Krell. People compare her to Anakin, but for me, she's a Pong Krell.
But
like,
Pong Krell was cool. Pong Krell was cool, and he was a good villain. Rebel was,
but she's not supposed to be cool as a character. See, for me, the biggest problem with the series was the writing and the dialogue. Like you said, Liam, the acting, fantastic.
Yeah.
Moses Ingram, great job. With what you were given, she did incredible. But as a character in Star Wars, I have a lot of questions about even just like, and I'm sure you can add plot armor to it all and try to make up a case for how she made it to Tatooine after being stabbed. If she was stabbed by Anakin to begin with, I don't know how she lived from that as a youngling and not being as attuned to the Force. Maybe she went in her inner dark side and was able to come out of it in the gutter. I don't know. But I agree with Dom for a Kenobi series, which we're expecting mostly Kenobi.
Should be about Kenobi.
The interplay between Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, aka Darth Vader. That's what I really was expecting from the series. And I'm fine with subversion of expectation if it's well done and well executed. But I think with what the rating gave us, I think it was unnecessary and it took away from what the story could have been.
Agreed.
Any counters to that?
Ethan says no one dies in Star Wars. No one is ever really
No one dies anymore. Yeah, you are. I do think, Dom, to your point, I think the Grand Inquisitor certainly could have filled that spot. in a different way, but certainly could have filled that spot quite easily. Talking about the Grand Inquisitor, though, it's
Hello.
It's
all we talk about for the past 2 weeks.
That was so good. That was so
Yeah.
good.
Hello.
Hello.
We started like making jokes like "Hello, grandchildren."
But one of the biggest complaints about the Grand Inquisitor when the trailer was released is how he looked. And then there was a counter to that to say, well, look, we don't know how he is going to interact in the series and how difficult it would be to make him look like that, whether through prosthetics or through CGI. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah,
And
because
the
they couldn't
reality
do
is,
that in episode 3, could they?
well, he didn't feature a lot. And when he did feature, he basically just had a walk and talk and role. You know, he didn't do any flips. He didn't do anything that would make it difficult to
Turn
make
into a
him
helicopter and fly away. I mean, you can't get
Oh, yeah,
that
that's
with
not
any
cool.
of the Inquisitors.
I
mean,
was needing a lightsaber fly on it, whatever episode it was when they were chasing across the rooftop. I was expecting lightsaber out, off she goes. Exactly.
I'm so glad that wasn't in there.
Helicopter.
That had to have
Helicopter,
been there.
helicopter.
I needed that in my life, but we didn't get it. It was a shame.
I blame Jedi Connor. It's the Lucasfilm, Star Wars, we're watching Jedi Connor's videos and these many mentions of how stupidly they defy the laws of the physics. So,
It's Star Wars.
agree.
They use the Force. Who cares? It's cool looking. It's funny.
Absolutely.
As stupid as it is, it's funny.
Well, that's it. The laws of physics are very different there, clearly, but
It's in a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago.
yeah.
To compare it to our reality, it's just preposterous.
Exactly. Somebody was saying the other day that apparently there's a rumor or something that it's set in the Andromeda galaxy. No idea where that comes from. I don't think it has an assigned galaxy, certainly not in canon, but I'm happy to be wrong on that. But yeah, flipping it around.
Ethan, my God.
He had a valid point in the chat, actually.
What was his valid point?
That Qui-Gon
Oh.
is the only one who gets stabbed by a lightsaber and dies and
But he
turns into a
didn't.
Force
But he
ghost.
didn't have hate, did he? There was no hate in
Right.
the heart of Qui-Gon, and what we know is it's revenge, or the will for revenge makes people strong, and essentially that's what she had. That's what pursued it. I do think as well that didn't really. I don't think that came across. It for me, it almost kind of just happened, and she didn't always seem driven by that. Then it was introduced, and then it was kind of over very quickly. So it was a bit of a that middle part of the series just like plateaued a little bit. It floundered a little bit. It didn't hit. As I think there was probably a lot of lore in there for those people who watched the lore. It didn't kind of land for me in that way. But yeah, flipping it around though, let's talk about what was your highlight of the series, Henry?
Highlight of the series.
Uh-oh.
I'd say the Anakin Obi-Wan fight, but if I had to say something that wasn't that,
Are you talking about the flashback?
no, the Vader Obi-Wan fight
They're
in
back,
the
okay.
finale. Yeah,
I'm on
the Vader Obi-Wan fight in the finale was probably my favorite part. But aside from that,
They're back.
I got it.
oh, damn it.
They're back.
Somehow the bots returned.
The horror. Yeah, I really liked the end of episode 2. I mean, might be biased, because I was at Celebration. I watched the first 2 episodes at Celebration at the premiere.
All right.
Look at this dude, big guy. This famous man.
The feeling in the room when you saw Hayden in the Bacta tank at the end of episode 2. That was incredible. That was insane. So that's one feeling that I'll take away from the Kenobi series, which I'll treasure for a long time, I think. So yeah, that's probably a big thing that I'll take away from the series.
Yeah,
I can see that. And I won't ask yet. I will come to it with the poll. But I'll loop back to that, Henry. If I don't, remind me. Just see Liam
Yeah.
loop. Nathan, what was your highlight?
One of the things I liked the most wasn't even in Kenobi, and it was from
Well,
Celebration.
That's not a question.
It was from
What?
Celebration, and it was the Hayden and Ewan panel, and Hayden says, "This is where the fun begins," and the
I
crowd goes
love
wild.
that. Oh,
That was
so cool.
Goosebumps. I wasn't even there. I was just watching it on my phone. That was awesome to see. It's like he'd lined it up perfectly for them to say that. They knew that was going to happen. But in actual Kenobi, to answer your question, I really liked the final battle when he said, "You didn't kill Anakin, I did." That whole performance and that, like we said, the speech going in and out of Anakin and Vader was awesome. And to see the lightsabers going from red to blue to show the imbalance is still inside that character. It does lead on to see what else we can have from Vader in the future, possibly, and especially with the end scene with Palpatine, there is still that conflict in there.
Oh,
But
yeah.
he doesn't want it there. He wants to push forward, and he will do. But it's still there deep down.
Did Vader's lightsaber go blue?
No, his face
No,
did
no.
go.
Oh, I was going to
So
say.
it's like the switch between the glow of his own lightsaber and then the glow of Obi-Wan's lightsaber. So it was kind of, and then it mirrored the voices as well, which was very cool. One thing
That was awesome.
the Palpatine scene at the end, I totally got the vibe of, do you know, the TikTok trend where it's typically girls who do it, where it's like, I'm leaving, and then it's like, sit down, or no man tells me what to do, and then it's like, sit down, and it's like, I'm sat, and then they like cut to like a hot guy, whoever their crush is, in the middle.
Yeah.
It was totally like Vader being like, "Meh, meh, meh," and then Palpatine like, just sit down. He's like, okay, I'm sat. Like, totally on that. I loved seeing that side of it, and I kind of wish we saw a little bit more of the Emperor putting him in his place. And if you've read any of the comics, like he does that quite a bit, or especially in the early years of Vader. But yeah, I suppose with 10 years on, Vader kind of knows his place at this point. So it was, just a bit of a nod from the Emperor would do it. But yeah, I particularly loved that bit.
I think for me, it was just Ewan, like having Ewan back in that role. And he's just such an incredible actor. Like, he could pull anything off. Like, 1 second you're bawling your eyes out in Christopher Robin, and then the next second you're watching him in a show like this. And
Matt, have you ever seen
Trainspotting.
Trainspotting?
There you go.
Have you ever seen what?
Trainspotting.
I have not.
So like this is one of my biggest struggles, right? Because, as I've said in the past, that I grew up with the originals, and I was 14-year-old when The Phantom Menace came out. But for me at that point, he was an established actor. Like he was. And Trainspotting, like for me, yes, I was 13 or 14-year-old when I'd seen Trainspotting, which is the most 18 of 18 movies probably out there, but I would highly recommend going and seeing it. And they made a more recent sequel probably in the last 5 years or so. But anybody who's a Ewan McGregor fan absolutely has to go and see that film, or see that film wherever you can find it, because his performance in it is fantastic. But essentially it's about drug addicts in Edinburgh, and it's got some other, JB, help me out, and anybody help me out.
I
but
haven't
has
seen
some,
it.
What?
I just know of its
Not seen
premise.
it either.
You're asking
Henry,
Star Wars fans to watch something else other than Star Wars and Marvel. Like,
I feel dumb, but I feel like you're kicking you all off now.
Wait, they make
We're just a
movies
different
other than
generation,
Star Wars
Liam.
movies?
Ewan has
think
no
who-
hair in Trainspotting, does he?
He shaves his head, yeah. He's I mean, he's like that.
He really is your idol, isn't he?
wow.
He's stick thin. But there are a couple of other kind of notable actors in there as well. I'm gonna have to look. There's a guy who I can never remember. Well, Robert Carlyle, for starters, who is Begbie is an absolute
Was he made in the
psychopath.
Royal Navy?
No.
Henry, like
That's
that
such a
one.
British joke.
Yeah. Who's the other guy? Johnny Lee Miller, who's been in I think he play Sherlock in something. But yeah, some fantastic actors. So yeah, I would definitely recommend if you're a Ewan fan, and especially this audience, to U5, go and watch Trainspotting.
We'll have another
I have a-
Opie-Verse
I have a
episode on
movie
that.
list. I have to add that to them.
If it helps, it was made by Danny Boyle. Danny Boyle, who made Slumdog Millionaire, 28 Days Later. Please tell me you've seen 28 Days Later, by the way, with Cillian Murphy.
Oh, the zombie film.
Yes, the zombie film. Yes.
Yeah. I've seen that.
Oh my
I've not
God.
seen it.
I've seen the Clone Wars.
That's Ewan McGregor, right?
That's a Star Wars, right? Yeah. I'll be right back.
Okay, cool. JB, over to you. What was your highlight? And question,
Oh.
why have I not seen from the ultimate Lego custom minifigure creator, why have I not seen from you a homeless clone, 501st clone minifigure yet?
Because that's a very simple figure, isn't it? It's just take off the
But
helmet,
I haven't seen
whack on a
anybody do it.
beard, sorted. It's you know,
But this is
we're
what we
levels
expected.
above
That's
that.
below
Liam.
his pay grade, Liam. That's below his pay grade.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody do it, but
I
would
haven't seen,
expect-
because you don't need it a tutorial. You just take the helmet off, put the beard on, you sorted. Surely,
what I would see is you wouldn't use the head because it's an aged clone. You would use the head from the latest Boba Fett from the new.
Oh.
Yeah,
So,
JB.
No, well,
Yeah.
hang on a sec, because the hairpiece that you'd use, I'll go and get it if you want, completely covers it up. It would just have the gap in the mouth, and it's very easy.
But you don't need to go and get it. Just do a video this week on your homeless clone, please.
The time is gone. The time is gone. But
Potentially. But yeah, what was your highlight of the series?
I enjoyed the flashback scene a lot. Just seeing them there, it was like, okay, this is. I mean, I was expecting Ahsoka to walk in, and it would just, yeah, it was. I'm a big Clone Wars fan, so that was fantastic.
Are we glad or disappointed that Ahsoka didn't feature?
Well, it would have been nice, but it wasn't needed at all. It wasn't needed, but it would have been nice just to see her just poking out behind a column.
I would have maybe liked a mention of Ahsoka, like just a name drop, or like perhaps when during Obi-Wan and Vader's conversation when he slashed his face, it's like, I failed you, and like, something, I'm sorry with what happened with Padme and Ahsoka, we've all failed you, Anakin, and then he can say that it's not your fault, Obi-Wan. I didn't. That something like that, just
It's a good impression.
because Ahsoka was a big part of Obi-Wan's life as well.
Yeah.
Just something, a name, maybe.
I think we're gonna get that, or partially maybe in the Ahsoka series. So maybe it's just not the right time and place for it. I would like more mention of Padme, more talk of that between the two of them.
Pull on the heartstrings.
Particularly, yes, but I loved especially how he brought it back. Kenobi kind of skirting around the issue with Leia and her mother and father, and kind of like, I don't know what to say and all that. Then kind of felt redeemed in himself enough to be able to then openly talk about them.
The tears were flowing then. I don't normally cry, but Star Wars does it.
It's Star Wars. I mean, we have so much emotional connection to it.
I don't.
Their upbringing, but...
No. It was good.
Or a Satine mention, because we got nothing about Satine.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not missing it. It's like the Ahsoka thing. I don't miss it, but it would have been cool. It would have been cool.
How would they have integrated it?
If he sees a Mandalorian helmet on Tatooine, and then it's just he looks at it, and there's a moment of
I
God,
used to go out with the leader of them.
Yeah.
And now she's dead. Oh, damn.
I mean, what, JB? When a Lucasfilm want to sign you up as a scriptwriter? That's what I don't know.
I'll take it.
You're giving away freebies left, right, and centre.
Sarcastic comments every few seconds.
It is the British way. It is the Obi-Wan way. So, a couple of last questions then on the series before we talk about a bit about Lego side of it. But was the series right how it is? And this is the poll. So if you've kind of joined in, there's a poll in the chat. What the question I've asked is, was it right out as it is? As a kind of 6-week, we got the 2 episodes together at the beginning, then weekly episodic from there. Should it have been a day, like a single day drop, like we saw with Stranger Things, or would a movie have been better? And feel free, chat, both to answer the poll, but also to start dropping in the comments, and we'll kind of talk about it from there. But anybody got any initial thoughts on that? Dom has.
I love it when these series, they come out weekly, because it gives us a week to digest an episode at a time.
I agree.
Rather than it's all at once. And then, you look at the hype of Stranger Things, it's starting to die down. I mean, it came out, a month ago, and it's starting to die down, but they have volume 2. But typically, with season 3, I remember it was popular for about a month, and then it just fell off the face of the earth. With Kenobi, we have time to, digest it weekly by week, and I much prefer that. And then when it comes to the questions of, could this have been a movie? It could have been a movie, but it would have had a completely different plot, I feel like.
Reva wouldn't be in it. Reva
Yeah.
wouldn't.
Well, there you go.
Exactly.
Yeah. We wouldn't have time for it.
Exactly. I mean, there wouldn't have been enough time to, do all the stuff.
And scrap the Fortress Inquisitorius stuff. That wouldn't be there.
That would
Just gone so Yorkshire here, Henry.
He has, hasn't he?
When I start getting wound up about something, it kind of comes out. I agree with you, Dom. I haven't watched the amount of questions, because I'm not just Star Wars or Marvel or anything. I'm a little bit of everything. The amount of questions I get about Stranger Things, I haven't seen it yet.
That's the only reason I watched it, because you're like, Dom, have you seen Stranger Things? Are you going to build a movie around it?
Yeah,
No.
I saw Stranger Things season 3 when it came out, which was 3 years ago, 2 years ago, something like that. I can't remember what happened, and frankly, I don't have the time to sit and watch 6 hour and 15 long episodes.
They are long episodes.
I like seeing
Why?
Henry get worked up about
What?
this.
I hear that the last episode of the show was 2 hours long.
I was like, I need to go
That's
to
not a
bed.
TV
I
show
got work
at that
in the
stage.
morning.
Ridiculous, I tell you. Right, Kenobi.
Henry
works.
Calvert exposed.
Yeah. Kenobi, I think, works as a weekly thing, and I prefer the rant to Henry. Yeah, every live stream I've done so far, I've had a bit of a rant. But right, Kenobi works as a TV show because, like Dom says, we're on the same page, Dom. I like you. I haven't spoken to you before, but I like you. Gives people time to digest. You're not bombarding them with content, and if anything, I think I went into Kenobi thinking it'd be a bit of a slow burn character analysis of Obi-Wan Kenobi, basically just him on Tatooine working through his feelings.
Yes.
And if anything, the breaks between episodes adds to that kind of what's the word I'm looking for? That longer feel, like this is a long running character analysis, slow moving thing.
You get to spend time with the character.
Exactly. And like you say, the hype will have been gone in a week. Everyone, it would have been spoiled. And
That's
if,
it.
yeah,
Not
I
everyone
agree.
has the time to watch, if Kenobi dropped all at once, it would have been 6-7 hours. Hi, everyone. Not everyone would have had the time to watch it all. I mean, people have busy schedules, but when it is, week by week, people have time. They will find the time to spend an hour once a week to watch an episode before the whole thing gets spoiled.
And it's something to look forward to. It's something to look forward to during the week. We get a little bit of Star Wars
It gets
at
me
the
up.
end of the week.
It gets me up in the morning. It's something to look forward to during the week, and
Yeah,
keeps me
exactly.
going. I have nothing to live for now at the show's over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What
am I going to watch?
we're
Miss
waiting for Mad
Marvel?
Max season 2.
Jesus. That show sucks.
I haven't seen episode 2 and 3. I liked 1.
I haven't seen episode 1 yet.
I've not seen any of it.
I haven't finished Moon Knight either. We're getting into Marvel.
What?
Moon Knight is so good.
Well,
here we go.
1
Here we go.
hour,
This is where
34 minutes. Just make a mental note of that.
I'm flying to UK.
This is where Henry
We're gonna
Calvert
binge
turns
watch
out to be a
Moon
bit
Knight.
of a fraud. Henry Calvert fraud, hashtag, all that nonsense. I
He's not a
haven't
real
finished
Marvel fan.
Hawkeye. Haven't finished Hawkeye.
Haven't finished Hawkeye.
No,
That
I'm
came
on
out
episode
in
You
December,
started
Moon Knight.
all of these shows and not finished them?
Mate, I'll be honest. I was in such a Marvel slump last year. It was like, why are we getting a show every month? Like, what? I'm just bored. Hawkeye, I got bored after an episode 3, I think 4 maybe. I know
Fair enough.
Kingpin's in it.
I feel the
That's all I
same
need to
way.
know.
I feel the same way, but
Hawkeye
I
was
couldn't start something and not finish it in that sense. That's just the way my mind
I mean,
works.
I could do it with if I start something like work, I'm gonna finish
Right.
that. If I'm gonna write a song, like hashtag #GeekRap2's on the way, by just in case people were wondering. GeekRap2's about nearly done.
They were.
Of course. Yeah. With work and stuff, I'll get it done. But with a show, I'm like, you kind of need to hold my attention. It took a lot out of me to finish Bad Batch. I'll say that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Agreed. That was tough.
Yeah, Matt, do you like Bad Batch a lot?
I no.
Not surprised. Not surprised.
I like Bad Batch.
I mean, I
Oh,
liked parts
Lord.
of Bad Batch
Not
just
bad.
as I like parts of Kenobi, but I'm excited for a season 2. If I would have known we were getting a season 2 when season 1 came out, I think I would have liked Bad Batch a lot more.
Oh,
That's pretty cool.
It's a good poster. I'll give him that. It is a nice poster. Anyway,
Henry
um,
with the ring light.
yeah.
What a pro.
I watched the first episode of Bad Batch again, and the amount of promise that first episode
First
held.
episode was so good. It was
Yeah,
insane.
a lot.
It's
But
like a it's
anyway.
like a hawk, and you're getting their talons in you, ready, to carry you, and then they just
Yeah.
It did slow down a bit. but-
slow down quite a bit.
Yeah.
But
Well,
this
for
new
me,
season's gonna be
Hawkeye
different.
started with a musical, and it was like, oh, great, it's a musical. It's at Christmas, Henry, and I was like, I'm just bored now.
It's just like, okay.
Moon
so
Knight
they
or-
shoot arrows. Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. Moon Knight. Apparently, the next episode is where it gets good, but I'm like, mate, I've already sunk like 5 hours into this show. Like, I kind of needed it to get good a little bit earlier. But yeah, Henry Calvert is kind of a fraud when it comes to the geeky stuff. I'm up to date with The Boys, because The Boys is the best TV show on at the minute.
I've not seen any of the new season
I
yet.
haven't seen.
I've
any
never
of The
watched any
Boys.
of it.
I don't have
Me
Prime.
neither.
It's on my
Boys.
Let me message Percy. Hold on.
Aw.
You should just make sure you watch the latest episode, like with your gran or something. just sat next to you.
It's a great family episode.
Yeah,
really
yeah,
good
yeah.
family-based episode.
They love it.
What about the Umbrella Academy? I know it's really off topic from Kenobi now, but has anybody seen the new season of that?
I know.
I remember
No.
seeing the first season, and then I remember the second season came out, and I was just like, oh yeah, that show exists. I'll watch
Yeah,
it some other time.
There was no marketing for the season at all. I forgot it was happening, and it just dropped. I was like, oh, okay, I'll watch it. Yeah, it's
Is it
very good
good?
so far. Yeah,
I've
definitely
had quite
recommend
a
it.
few requests from Umbrella Academy people, but I haven't seen it, so I've never delved into it.
Never watched any of it.
I remember I really enjoyed the first season of that show because it had a really cool plot, and it was very different from the other superhero shows we were getting at the time, and there's a lot to unravel with that show. It keeps you
certainly-
invested in it.
It certainly is an attest to how much content is being thrown at us lately. To have shows that we're not able to finish, that we get bored with halfway through, we have a lot to choose from. I remember years ago having 2 Marvel movies a year and maybe 1 Star Wars one when it first came back.
Yeah.
And now it's just right and left trying to
It's
figure
almost a
out
bit too much.
what we're
It's
going to watch
like
next.
content overload with all
I'd
these
agree.
shows and
But-
And the
movies.
format. The
It's-
6-hour
Format too, yeah.
movie format of these shows, I think, is what's killing it.
And
the
I
good
think-
thing is though, is
Go on, Jamie.
as content creators, it helps us out a lot because think of how many TikTok accounts wouldn't exist without all these shows.
That's
Do
a
you
good
not
point.
think though that at the same time it saturates that side of it as well? Like whenever there's a new episode of like Kenobi, for example, where everybody's how are they keep coming back?
They just really want you today, don't they?
For the sake of science, we should probably see what they're talking about. I mean, for science, guys, research purposes.
But yeah,
I'm
never
just kidding.
mind. But yeah, never mind. But yeah, I feel like whenever there's a new episode of Kenobi or whatever it like a biggest, even like a movie as well. It all you go through your FYP, and obviously we all sit on a very similar side of TikTok, and it's just like, oh my god, new episode, and there to the point now where there are probably like 2 or 3 people that I'm actually interested in what they have to see on it. Anybody else, I'm like, look, I'm sorry, like I can only digest so much of that, and there's so much to digest. It's the same with
you can only hear a person's opinions about the same thing so many times.
Exactly.
It's just like,
listen,
like people like the episode, cool, awesome. next thing.
I think some people struggle to present said opinions in an engaging way as well.
There is that.
And I mean, I think the content creators and whatnot, and that is us. Content creators and influencers need to kind of, and I've seen it with soups recently. There's been a big debate about, not big debate, but there's been conversations about soups influence and, is it a good thing and all this nonsense. But we need to be aware of the kind of effect that we have on people's opinions of these shows, because we can quite easily change them and adjust them and almost.
You don't have to put your hand up, Dom.
So at Brick World Chicago, I was talking with mini superheroes today, and not enough, I think, content creators realize the impact they have and the way we actually influencers, we legit do influence people's opinions. And he said it as corny as it sounds. He told me with great power comes great responsibility, and it's the truest thing. As cheesy as some people may see it, it really is. Like I remember getting to a point like last year with my following. I was like, I'm not doing anything bad, but I can definitely be better at what I put out, and really think a lot more before I say.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's some bigger people can get carried away with the following, because as soon as you have something controversial or you speak your opinions quite openly, of course you gain followers. But are you perpetuating a good thing, or are you perpetuating negativity? And it's almost like you need to step back and have a look at yourself and be like, are you proud of the content you're making? And are you having the impact that you want to have on your following?
Yep.
And
or are you just trying to get views?
Success will only reveal more of who you really are. I found as well.
Like
if
drinking.
You are a good individual, yes. if you are good at what you do and you enjoy it truly, and it's not about the views and such, then you're there to do good. You will continue doing good. It'll only let that reach more people. But if you're there for the negative side of things, it will only spread that negativity farther.
We're getting a bit deep here. This is
we are.
I like this. This is a good
therapy. Kenobi group therapy.
It's definitely something that I don't feel is talked about enough.
Do you know? And I feel like as well, because there is either absolute positivity or hate for clout, essentially. There isn't really an occupied space right now by many people, if not any kind of notable people, about constructive criticism. Like it's rare that you see that people are able to, or really actually do, challenge kind of what's happened in a way that is accepted. And it's almost become, there is a toxicity in the challenge against toxicity now as well. I feel somewhat like people challenge any sort of negative feedback or comments. And this is not everybody, but there are people out there that challenge that, and it's like, well, like let's talk about things, and that's why. And it's difficult through kind of where when somebody's speaking into a camera, and it takes away the ability to have a conversation. And obviously, that's why I was really keen to have this, because we were able to talk things through and debate. Where even with stitches and duets or whatever, and whatever people use, green screen videos, they love a bit of that, but like it doesn't really push the art of conversation. It's almost like a TikTok battle, like almost like a sort of rap battle in a way that it doesn't further anybody. People just kind of jump on it for that.
An argument.
And yes,
really
Joe,
getting anywhere with it, you're just making noise.
Exactly. So and yes, JB proceeds to make a skeleton. Well done on that one. But yeah, to circle all the way back around, is the consensus then it was right to do what they did in
Yes.
the weekly episodic? Anybody to the contrary?
I would have
Yeah.
loved the movie.
Really?
I'm all for the movie. I'm all for the movie. Matt,
It
you
would
can
have had
read.
to be a different story.
Nope.
But yeah,
that's
That's
fair.
exactly. That's why I would have loved for it to be in a movie.
I've noticed there's differences between the movies and the shows where, like, at first I feel like with some of the first Disney Plus shows, it felt like a long movie, but now they're starting to feel like actual TV
A show,
shows where there's the tropes of a cliffhanger or a reason to come back for the next episode rather than just watching it for the next episode and just trying to get the whole story. Like,
Yep.
Did you, other than the back to tank scene though, at the end of episode 2, was there ever an end of an episode where, I suppose maybe with episode 5, but you would expect that going into the final episode? I didn't really feel like, like I can't believe they finished it there. I can't wait for next week and to see what happens.
Well,
with
there was
that.
the whole thing when Ray, I still don't know what her name is.
Reva.
Reva. When she captured Leia, that was
Mhm.
like, oh, that one was quite a cliffhanger.
oh
Yeah, exactly.
no, child
Oh, no.
kidnapping, here we go.
That guy's rebel helmet's on the floor. That's yeah.
Yeah,
I think it always left me wanting more to get the full story of the show rather than like necessarily a cliffhanger. Right? Like I remember watching the 3rd episode and being like, oh, I wish the whole series was out because I would love to see them duel again and to see where it goes from here. But like Dom said, I also do like the slow burn that allows you to
Take it in,
digest absorb it. Yeah. Rather than just, okay, I watched it, now I'm going to forget what I watched in a week.
Yep.
Yeah. Is it our fault for expecting too much then?
Probably.
Because
Are
I
we
feel like-
really expecting too much?
Well,
though?
Yeah.
It
I
kind
just
of
feel
writes
like-
itself in a sense, doesn't it?
Not with
Do you not-
Kenobi.
Going-
Kenobi's like a big show. It's a big deal. They haven't really done a show about such a prominent figure ever. Like such a key. Well, I
No,
guess the Clone Wars, but
and to Matt's point, it's Kenobi, right? It's as Star Wars as Tatooine, right? It's up there, and that's where I think it deserved the movie. There is nothing like seeing Star Wars on the big screen. That big like like there's the music is as much of Star Wars as lightsabers, and nothing is better than on the big screen with the full kind of experience. And I feel like they could have chopped that down to probably about 2.5. Look, we would have sat for 2.5, maybe even closer to 3 hours for a one-off Kenobi movie, hands down. I feel like it was there. They could have quite easily just kept the same story. There are the 3 acts that you would typically have. You know, the beginning bit of him on Tatooine, kind of just living out his life in nothing. Leia gets snatched, and then you've got the kind of the second act being the rescue, and then the failed rescue, and then them in desperate despair, and then the final part being the redemption, and then the culmination of the story from there. I feel like that could have been done in a 2.5 hour, anywhere between 2 to 3 hour movie, and I think it would have been fantastic. But that's just me. But that's what I would have went for. And I think that if you come out of that, imagine just seeing that as one film, coming out of that, there would be less focus on, even if you keep Reva in it and everything is as it is, it's just trimmed down to hit the runtime. You come out of that movie and you're like, did you? They showed us, and we saw Hayden Christensen, and we got to see that. Like, you would be talking about all of the amazing things that it was. You wouldn't be kind of talking about those kind of what felt a little bit like filler episodes where it's like, this wasn't as good. And that was then the argument for me to put that option in around, would you have a single day drop where everything drops at the same time? Because I think that would give you the same thing. But at the same time, I don't think that's the right way to go. I would rather have, if it was against drop it all at once or drop it weekly, I would definitely stick with drop it weekly. But I definitely would have put a movie at the top. And I think Kenobi, being Kenobi, deserved it. Rant over. I should have put myself on big screen for that one.
That's fair. No, that's fair.
There's one thing which I was thinking about. Was you know how he had this little antenna that popped up when he went into his house? I assumed that was R4 just buried underground. Is that what other people think?
Yeah.
Well, it was definitely the part of an astromech for sure.
Exactly. I thought he just buried R4 and then he left the house. And I said on my recording, I was like, he's left R4, but he's left R4 underground. What's going on?
I am intrigued by that. I did wonder, is the full droid under there? Because that is extremely
Yeah.
harsh. Or essentially, did he salvage something to make a bit of a security system?
Well,
and
last
I
time
don't remember ever owning a droid.
because I put it in the ground and forgot about it. No, but
ground
wasn't
owns him now.
R4's head was blown off, right? In episode 3?
Oh yeah, by Buzz droids.
Well,
Those droids, they ripped his head
Yeah.
off.
okay, maybe he nicked another one. Maybe it's Goldie from the Clone Wars. There you go. It
Who
picks
knows?
that geezer off the floor.
Absolute last question on the series before we talk about the Lego stuff. But series 2, yes or no? Matt,
Should they or would I want it?
both. Everything.
I going into the series, I didn't want them to ever I wanted one series, this amount of episodes, this is what it's going to be, no more, because it's Kenobi. I think it, for me at least, from my perspective, it's a bit more sacred in terms of the Star Wars universe. It's a very sacred timeline. It's a sacred character that I don't want them messing with too much. So I wouldn't really want them to, but now with how they've set it up, it's almost like they have to throw more content out there instead of just letting it lie. So yeah, I'd like to see him have more conversations with Qui-Gon. I'd love to see him reprise that character and fully take it on rather than just giving a half-hearted, well, I was with you all along sort of line at the end of it. But I'll always welcome Ewan McGregor to be back on my television screen as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Absolutely.
Indeed. Dom?
What was the question? I was texting someone. I'm sorry.
Season 2, yes or no? Would you have it? Would you want it?
See, I mean, what would season 2 really be?
Right.
I mean, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan screwing around on Tatooine. Like, I'm all for that. I'd love that. But I feel like there wouldn't be an end goal besides him learning how to be a Force ghost. But I mean, it would be fun to see Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan just screw around on Tatooine.
Chilling out.
Just chilling. I mean, I was talking with a friend last night, and he how great would it be just Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon going to Moscow to get a drink together? It's just,
So
why not? They have some stuff to do.
non-force sensitive people wouldn't see Qui-Gon. So if Obi-Wan took Qui-Gon to the cantina, and
that's how people get the idea of the senile old man, the crazy old man. Hire me, Disney.
Written. Nathan.
I think
what was the question?
it's obviously going to happen because of how they've set it up,
right?
But sort of like what Don was saying, what can you tell in that story? We know that he's going to survive and nothing too traumatic is going to happen because we know that everyone's in A New Hope. So what can you tell that's going to be interesting? If they do make it, I'm all here for it because more Star Wars content is great. So I'm happy for that.
Star Wars, yay!
Yeah. But I don't know what they could do other than him learning how to be a Force ghost, which they've sort of covered in the Clone Wars with Yoda anyway. Yeah. So I don't know. If they make it, great. If they don't, great. Yeah, I'm easy. Whatever.
Mm-hmm. Henry, you look deep in thought there.
He's really thinking.
Yeah.
I see some smoke coming out of those ears.
I don't want a second series in kind of a live action format.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing with Tales of Jedi, this new animated series, like little stories about Jedi or whatnot.
About that.
Maybe one episode of Obi-Wan doing some Force Ghost stuff with Qui-Gon. Maybe how Marvel have done these one-shot things. Maybe something like that. I don't know. I wouldn't want to see a second series. I think if they're going to do anything more with Raver, they'll do it in a book. Just leave it.
Here's a question. if there was a season 2 with Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn as Force Ghost, and if we knew this, Lego would make Force Ghost minifigures, actual good Lego Force Ghost minifigures, then would you want a season 2?
They've leaked, haven't they?
No, it was a fake.
That
Was
was fake.
actually
The yeah,
that little bubble piece. That
yeah,
was fake.
it was fake.
no.
Somebody basically did it to grow
I would
their Instagram account and then-
I would do anything for Lego to make actual good Force Ghost minifigures.
maybe
I think
we'll get-
season two. I think we're all struggling to think of what it would be. I think what I would like it to be, I don't think it's going to be this, but what I would like it to be is like flashbacks to their training earlier on between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and somehow that relationship impacting the current trajectory of how Obi-Wan would go under his training again to learn how to become a Force Ghost. And that's
That'd
where
be
you could
fun.
have your Sabine flashbacks as well. Or Satine.
because of course because he actually first met Satine when he was a Padawan
Correct.
under so I'm all
Oh.
for that. Yeah. JB.
I don't think it needs a second season. It was
No.
good, but it, as everyone's saying, what would it be? What would it be? To be fair, I wasn't even expecting Qui-Gon to show up at all. I thought
Mhm.
maybe he would when he was under the rocks, but at the end it was like, oh, cool, Qui-Gon's there. It's fine. They're going to go off, have a little chat. He's going to tell him how to be a Force Ghost. We don't need to see that. We can assume that. So I don't think there's enough for them to make a second season of it, really. Because they've already told the Luke Leia story. What else are you going to do? It's going to be like Mando just going around doing missions. That's not fit for everyone, is it?
Yeah, they're going to introduce young Mando. So yeah, I agree. I think I don't want a season 2. I think I really enjoyed. I think it would really start to dilute both the story and the character if they do that. So please, none of that. I think if they want to continue the story, it probably work better in book or comic book format. Because I think it reads. They can play around with it a little bit more. They can be a bit more mysterious with it. I think it's. I really enjoy that. But as per like what a second series would look like. I don't know if anybody saw this, but Darth Choco did a video today or a couple of days ago about what his opinions on what season 2 would look like. And what he actually said was this was what he thought season 2 would have looked like if before going into it. And season 1 would have been him on, Obi-Wan on Tatooine, dealing with the Hutts, dealing with the water taxes and all of that. And essentially the end of it, he would have then got whispers of a Jedi being on Tatooine, and he would have kind of tried to be investigating that himself without any real luck. And essentially the end of season 1 would have been the Inquisitor ship flying in, settling down. We would have seen the Inquisitors, and that would have led us into season 2, which we then got. When I saw that video, I thought, 100%, and it doesn't make sense to then flip that around because it just doesn't like it. That wouldn't have the same impact of just him being on Tatooine now. So for me, I hope not. And if they want to continue the story, it'd be great to get, because I think there's a lot of lore to come out of that time of him in training. But give us it in a book or a comic book would be my take on that. But should we talk Lego for a little while, guys? Because
before we get into Lego, something just popped in my head. Do we remember at the episode 1 when the Inquisitors confront that Jedi? He briefly mentions Ahsoka before he runs away.
Does he?
No.
Yeah. Or, he does. He mentions something about her, and then the Grand Inquisitor stops Reva's blade before she. Or did I just imagine things?
Which Kenobi are
so.
you watching, Dom?
No, it was in episode 1.
Walking off the track.
He followed the link in the chat. That's very.
Forget about it.
You can come back, JB. Yeah, you definitely made that up, Dom. There was
swear I
no,
did.
there's
I'm
no
watching the
reference.
episode right now.
Yeah, but well, at least we don't have to go down that, and we can go into Lego. So
Lego.
Yeah, I mean, we have to talk about that set first.
Oh, the $50 upgrade base
Sucks.
plate.
Sucks. It reminds me why I
So,
stopped
so
buying
bad.
Lego.
So bad.
Get him on the full screen. He's having a rant.
It's like out of all the scenes, the one where they don't even do anything.
Yeah, it's
and everyone
horrific.
gets set on fire.
Yeah.
That scene.
Why didn't
not
they
the
do
final
like,
scene?
Yeah, cut the two other minifig. Cut the woman. Cut the what's her name?
Can't keep up,
Cut the
lads.
woman.
Can't keep up.
Get her out of here.
What's her name? What's her name?
What's her name?
Tala.
Tala.
Get rid of her. Get rid of the droid. Make it an Obi-Wan and Vader set similar to the Duel on Mustafar set.
Yeah.
Bung it on shelves.
Or a
for
diorama.
25 quid.
Or
Yeah.
20 quid.
diorama.
Bung it on the
Bung it on
shelf
shelf.
at the supermarket.
They'll go like hotcakes.
Matt's
But
hot.
no, this is what
And that is double.
$50. 50 quid. What a
It's
load
so
of rubbish.
expensive.
This is what
It's a
people
lot of
buy.
money.
People
Cool.
can't buy, kids can't buy it with their pocket money anymore.
Mhm.
It's stupid.
And
And
you
I
wouldn't-
can't
you wouldn't
believe
want
that they're
to.
hiking their prices up even more. This is why I stopped buying it. I'm going to buy my Optimus Prime and then that's, unless, my perfect Lego set comes out, that will be the last thing I
Hamilton.
buy, I reckon.
I'm going to
But-
side with Lego on this one.
Ooh.
Hear me out. Hear me out. I'm
Ooh.
going
I
to play
think I
devil's
know-
advocate
I think
really
I know
quick.
where you're going with this.
Matt, just before you go off, because I really want to hear this, but I just don't want to lose the gravitas of what
For
Henry's
sure.
saying. And I can't wait for LegoCon 2023 when Henry is presenting and this clip is
This
going
gets
back
clipped.
out.
That'd be hilarious.
I'm never
2
buying a
hours
Lego.
flat.
I won't be
again.
getting any brand deals off them, I can tell you that.
Not that
So-
Lego do any.
My biggest issue, I think, with it is so Lego always does this because they have to. They can't pick the better of the two fights because if it leaks ahead of time,
Yeah.
they're up a creek. So
they're in big troubles.
right. They've done it with Marvel in the past. With Endgame, the Endgame sets didn't even apply to what Endgame was. And
surely
they've
the
kept
mere
doing
fact-
this.
The mere fact
What was that?
surely the mere fact that it's a fight between Vader and Anakin, it doesn't matter which one it is. Surely, like they could have done either or.
One would think, but well, I think when you come with, there's a lot of baggage that comes with corporate entities involved. Them determining what gets made a set and what doesn't. I think there's a lot more backdoor conversations that happen than we're probably privy to in terms of how the concept art gets passed along and what it actually looks like, what stage it's even in at that point. So I would guess that Lego was given very little to go off of for a fight
Typically
like
they
this.
do. I mean, if we look back at the 2015 Kylo Ren's shuttle, which was the wrong
Right.
color, had the wings did not fold down like it was supposed to. It just comes down to Disney not giving Lego enough concept
Reference
art or
material.
reference material. Thank you, Matt, for them to make accurate sets. And then Lego is always leaking shit all the time. Excuse my language. It is so bad. And I mean, they also it is a toy, so they have to like get that on the market and advertise it. So it would kind of spoil it. I understand why they didn't do the final duel, but at that point, if you're not going to do the final duel, don't do any of them at all at
Yeah.
that point.
But then again, it's like this, like you said, Dom, it is a toy. And I think my problem with it comes down to the fact that set does not cater to adult collectors.
Completely
That set
agree.
does not
Completely
cater
agree.
to the younger demographic.
It's too expensive for kids to cost
exactly.
$50
So if
for
they
4
made it
minifigures and a thing of parts.
Yeah, if they made it a Duel on Mustafar type set, you know what I'm on about.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
that's
that was
what I
like
mean.
I love that set. It's
Yeah.
right over there, and I have a second
Yeah.
copy right over there.
Yeah,
It's a
that-
fantastic set.
If
We're
they
all
made
just
it
going to
one
start
of
that
them,
working it out.
yeah, but,
excuse me?
bit of playability, bit of moving about, sorted in the money, made it 20
mean-
quid, boom, done. But
And
no,
honestly, I still have hope that they might do that set later down the road. They don't have to do it right now. Release it in the January wave. I mean,
If they were
Yeah,
going
if
to
they,
do
fingers
it,
if they
crossed.
made
like,
it now,
if there is a Motunui, fingers crossed.
if they made it now, nobody would buy the $50 base plate,
No.
right? Like
True.
because everybody would just go for the better
I
one. So,
don't think they can do it in like the next year or so. It would have to be like many, many years down, because then everyone would just compare it to the why did we just pay 50 quid for this when they've just dropped this? It would have to be many years.
This is just another case of just Lego just really shooting themselves in the foot and trying to just make something to put out on the market to take advantage of the hype.
Well,
Any mock builder can build something better as
yeah.
well.
That too, and that like I'm been planning to get to that. It comes down to with Lego, you can build anything at that point. With this scenario, just build your own version.
The premise
As
of the
is.
set, the premise of the set is a good idea. A duel between Vader and Obi-Wan sorted. Even the other figures, like the droid figure, looks really good.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Like
Really
it's
thick.
one you'd really want to get, almost a few of, even though you only see one.
That
But,
could be the main selling point of that set, I think.
It
Well,
really
it
is.
is. It is.
it is absolutely aimed at minifigure collectors rather than playing. Or
But if they just made it a bit of a smaller set, had
Mhm.
a couple of spinny platforms, did they even need the fire thing? I don't know. It could have been.
I was a little surprised that they put that in
Yeah.
a set for how violent and like grotesque that scene is. Like, oh yeah, with this set you can reenact the fight scene, and you can also reenact the scene where
Crispy Obi-Wan.
Vader sets Obi-Wan on fire. It's great.
Why don't you get a
It's
scented
fantastic
candle
content.
while you're at it if you're
Yeah.
going to spend the $50 anyways, and maybe
Yeah.
have
Or
some
Obi-Wan's
fire?
head.
Give Obi-Wan a double-sided face, one which is all battered and like flamed while you're at it.
We're also going to include a lighter in the set so you can actually set Obi-Wan on fire.
Bunsen
I mean-
burner.
I mean, did you guys like the because the only other set that we've got from it is the shuttle. I mean,
That one
Which
looks
is
good.
That I really
brilliant.
like.
Yeah.
It's
No,
it's
that's-
good.
that's-
It is good, but after watching the show, it's less high on the want list,
Right.
You don't
because
see it all that much.
exactly it got a
Mm.
tiny bit of screen time. Realistically, the figures inside it, okay, they're nice, but the blue Obi-Wan, he's only really in episode 1. He looks cooler in his normal Jedi robes.
Mhm.
The Inquisitors, yes, okay, Inquisitors. Well, I guess some people have already got a Grand Inquisitor. The Reaver minifig,
It's a character no one really likes.
yeah, the
Mhm.
Reaver minifig isn't. She's not going to complete your collection if you don't have it. And then same with the fifth brother. He's like, okay, cool fig, but I was going to get that set straight away, but after watching the show, it's just like, oh, I don't know. That's my thought.
When it goes on sale at Walmart, I will buy it then.
Right.
That's the kind of set it is for me, which is a lot of the sets that have been coming out. with,
And that's
like,
probably
Star
true for
Wars.
both of them, right? Like that's
Yeah.
And as you see it, Don, that's probably true for because we are getting so many sets.
And they're going up in the price soon.
Matt,
How much
I
cheaper
had
than
to. I had to.
how much cheaper we're talking about?
DM me for a collab. But yeah, I think that's true of a lot of Lego sets. Certainly the player skill sets now that people are waiting for them to come out on offer. And we're seeing so many. We're seeing a lot like in that respect now.
The Jedi Starfighter, though, that is a day one for me.
Yeah. I have to think about it because I, a man of intellect, has the 2017 Jedi Starfighter with
True.
hyperdrive,
True.
where the only thing that pulls me towards that set is the Kaminoan, and depending on what the aftermarket price on that figure is, I might just be I might just be better off buying the figure separately online.
The Obi-Wan
buying
does
it.
look really good as well, though.
Yes.
The Obi-Wan looks really good. To be
Ethan,
fair,
shut your face, okay? shut your face.
I do like. What's interesting though is that on some websites it's £25. On Lego's website it's £30.
Oh.
Now that is very interesting. So I don't know how that's
Indeed.
happened, but if it is £30, then it's not necessarily day one. 25 sorted.
Yeah. That's one that I would really like actually because I don't own any version 1 Jedi Interceptors actually. So I'm looking forward to getting a Kaminoan for the first time. And once again, as we said before, it seems like they are targeting minifig people with all of these sets.
Yeah.
I mean, we get the Inquisitors with the shuttle, we get the droid, and I don't know, Tala. It just kind of reminds me of any other Imperial officer, really. With the dual set, and then with the Jedi Starfighter, we get the Kaminoan. So
I think there's something as well, especially for the likes of us, where we have because we've seen it with like Rebels, well, she's now probably getting the appreciation that it warranted many years after it was released.
Yep.
But then how the prices have inflated down the line. Now, if this is a one-off series, same with like the likes of the Book of Boba Fett, 5 years down the line, there is value in having the complete set of builds from that series or from those series. So I think it's one of those that you're a bit like, I don't really want it, but at the same time, I can't not have it, essentially.
Right.
So yeah.
I felt the same about Mando as well. Like, I'm already buying
Yeah.
all these Mando sets. I may as well just get the 2 that
That you
I
don't have yet.
don't have. Yeah.
That's how I feel. I have all the Mando sets except the brickheads and the helmets.
Same.
Yeah.
I like the
So-
BD1.
Mm.
Yes, BD1. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
But
Very good.
I think before we talk about that incredible, beautiful set, what other scenes could Lego make
So
for Kenobi?
not a
Back
scene.
to Vader.
But
Well,
we
I was
already
going to
have
say
that with Vader's castle
True, but a small
Yeah.
up
one.
there.
Mm.
A small one. was
Inquisitorius.
Fortress and Court. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
just gonna say.
Yeah.
So the question being, and Matt, maybe you have an idea on this, but with it being partially submerged, how would you incorporate that? If you say took something like Vader's castle as a base of it, how would you do the partially submerged bit?
Well, I mean, I don't think that Lego would.
You wouldn't
Yeah.
have to. You wouldn't have to. No, a set. You could have the set without it being submerged.
Right.
It would be great if they released a set just on its own of the Princess Leia interrogation scene where she's about to get tortured. I think that would fly off. The
That would
shelves.
be that, and then it could be like an anniversary set where on the other side is Padme's death scene as a set as well, which I've been trying to advocate for years at this point.
the
Poor
torture of
traumatic
children.
events that happened to the Skywalkers.
Yeah.
Skywalker
The
traumatic.
Skywalker
And then it-
trauma tragedy set.
And
I
it
think.
it just comes with Luke's hand here. No,
Mhm.
no Luke, just the hand. There you go.
And
They do need to make a buildable hand to go with Luke's lightsaber, though.
I saw
Yeah.
someone mocked up their own set of it. It's hilarious.
Yeah, what are they doing with it when they're not recording it, though? That's the question. Any other scenes, though? Any other? I mean,
I think they could do like that little checkpoint with the laser fence.
I was
And that-
literally about to say that, Dom.
Mhm.
That vehicle.
It reminds me of the Indiana Jones set. God, we're going back a while now from
the first
from
one
Last
where the guy-
Crusade with the
Yeah, I guess it's-
tricycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the checkpoint and then the
That was like my
sidecar.
second ever Lego set as a kid.
Same,
I remember doing that.
same.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But no, I think that like that little tower, the laser fence, and then that little truck
Mhm.
that they had,
And
the
that
little-
It
geezer with
feels
the
very
very-
like
the mole guy, with
Yeah.
the little things.
He
with
had
the
an
little
amazing
whiskers.
accent,
That
yeah.
would have been a really cool figure.
Zach Braff
um,
apparently as well.
Couple
I'm guessing you have
stormtroopers.
watched Scrubs. Don't tell me you've never watched Scrubs.
I've seen the
We're all
Clone
gonna get
Wars.
kicked.
I've seen the Clone Wars.
I've seen the Clone Wars.
Oh my
But no,
god!
I am surprised that we haven't gotten a little Leia. What is with Lego not making?
Well,
It
that
would
would
have
have
spoiled
been,
towards
that would
the
have
end of
been
the
a
show.
spoiler. That would
It would have
if
been a
that had
spoiler.
leaked, that would have been because
I reckon they might do
any of the trailers.
Yeah, they might do a buildable Lola and stick in
Yep.
a little layer in that, similar to how they've done BD1 and then little
I
BD1.
can
I
see them
reckon
doing
they'll
that.
do a Lola and a
can see
little layer
that.
figure.
Any
For
other
sure.
sets they could build off of Kenobi?
Well, a Lola. Sorry, a Lola. Yeah,
Lola.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lola.
You could do
A
the
Kenobi saber would be awesome, but I don't see
Oh,
them
they
doing it.
if they
Yeah.
did a Saber series,
Potential giveaway with the Razor Crest. UCS Razor
You could
Crest.
do,
type
we haven't had a Star Destroyer in a while, so we've got a Star
Mm.
Destroyer. But then we could also have
Where
The-
where did the Star Destroyer go at the end? By the way, because Obi-Wan was able to fly
I
off
did
that
think that,
planet very
yeah.
easily when there was just a,
Mhm.
before there was just a
Plot
massive
armor.
Star Destroyer there, and then
Plot
Obi-Wan
armor.
was just able to fly off.
There are infinite amounts of direction into space, which is one of the plot things of Empire Strikes Back. Is why did they take off directly into where the 3 Star Destroyers were when there were infinite amount of the? But apparently that's where the hyperspace window is, which kind of makes sense. But never mind. But I do think the little transport ship that could give you then a Roken minifigure
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be cool.
and young Leia as well, because she was on there, so you could do that.
They
Get
do.
some snow speeders with what's his name, who
No one cares.
notoriously died, and
No
we were
one-
mourning him for like 2 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
What's his name?
Yeah,
It's over the W or something.
Oh yeah.
Maybe
Wade.
the Wade there. Yeah, something like
Wade.
that.
He's Wade underground now.
Wade under the ocean.
Exactly.
Potentially a Lars homestead.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Defense
that'd
on
be
home.
insane.
The defense of Lars Homestead with
Never mind
Aunt
defense of
Peru,
Kashyyyk.
a new Owen.
To be fair, yeah,
little
that's a set that we've been
I can
needing
see
for
that.
so long. For so
Agreed.
long, we've had Obi-Wan's hurt. Obi-Wan's hurt is nothing in comparison to
Yeah.
Luke's hurt. They should have done that.
What about Obi-Wan? Because I feel like Lego love the Star Wars creatures, like the Wampa and the Tauntaun, and his like camel thing that he rode in the first couple
Camel,
episodes.
That'd be cool.
Just
So you could-
Obi-Wan cutting up the fish. That would make an
Obi-Wan's
amazing set.
workplace. Obi-Wan at work. Obi-Wan 9 to 5.
Working
That was a very cool. That was a very cool gonk droid that handed out his money.
What?
Yeah, it was just like a little money gonk droid. I like that.
Gunk.
Oh, there
A
you
new
go.
T16. It's been a while.
You could
since
get
we
the
got
gonk.
T16.
You could get Obi-Wan. You could get the kind of the big guy, the boss.
That punches
guy.
the other guy in the stomach.
Yeah.
No reason.
I'm
You
only
gave me
paying
less
you half
money.
and- Yeah. Got a problem with that. But yeah, I think the thing, so, like, there were times on Tatooine, but a lot of Tatooine doesn't really stand out in a way that gives you a set. So certainly when they were in Mos Eisley, nothing's really there that says like, oh, they could build upon that. I would love to see them build upon stuff that would go around the cantina, but it would be quite non-specific, quite generic
Yeah.
buildings and all of that. So
We've got this set here now. I'm not sure how well this is done, but if this is done well,
that
they
was
could-
from
Mando.
The Mandalorian.
Exactly. So they could
Season
do
two.
what I'm saying is though they could do this with Obi-Wan underwater, a couple of stormies,
And then
have
that's how we
that-
get
Yeah.
the Purge Trooper.
yeah,
That would be
exactly.
Yeah.
great.
That'd be
That-
The
really
door
that'd be
closing.
Yeah.
The some sort of window splash feature crash, all of that. That
And then
could be an
it could
interesting
include
one.
a bag of water that you pour into the set, and then you use the play feature and just get water all over your Lego pieces.
do you know,
That'd be
JB?
great.
Yeah.
To your point, you would obviously use a translucent, like trans blue window piece for the wall, but then you could get a lovely sticker that would give it like the cracked
Cracked.
piece.
All right, guys, I'm gonna
Oh.
head out of here
That
real
worked.
quick. I gotta go.
Matt,
Did Matt not like the cracked? Oh, I thought
I
you
don't
were
like stickers at all.
Hey, look,
He doesn't
there's
At
one.
all.
A little Luke with the T16.
Ooh.
Like
That'd be
the
cool.
T16. We still didn't actually see a T16, did we? But we
No.
saw the little toy of one. But yeah, little Luke with flying it like a T16 toy. I could see that happening.
Obi-Wan's
I
kid
mean-
with the Jawa. That could be a set. Great.
That
Thank you,
Jawa was
Ethan.
a little bugger him. He stole
He
Obi-Wan's
was.
stuff and then tried to sell it back.
And shambolic.
Classic Jawa.
shambolic. But yeah, I think when you go through it, there isn't a lot. There's nothing that really, when you think of from a Lego perspective, there's nothing that really stands out to see. Oh, that would make a fantastic build. Yes, there's probably a couple of ships in there. The Fortress Inquisitorius, I think, would be spectacular. But then I hadn't thought about that one, JB, and I think that's a great shout. Is like a £30 set. That is that hallway scene with that probably
I
wouldn't.
mean,
take
it
much.
is kind of a bit boring set. You kind of get this one for the minifigs, don't you? But
Exactly.
Yeah.
if
I mean,
if it had the Purge Trooper, then
That's like
yeah.
90% of Lego Star Wars sets these days is you get it for the minifigures because
You
9
could
times out of
you
10,
could
just
do
build a better version.
You could do the doorway scene when they had the cannon there that she just cut with the lightsaber, so there was no point of having the cannon. But you could they could do that doorway scene, have the cannon, a few Stormies, her, then
Some rebels
some
in
other
there.
guys, and yeah, that could be. There's a set they did a while ago. It was like 2007. It was the Rebel. I actually got it here. Oh,
The bunker. Oh, I know exactly which one. Yeah, the Hoth base with the.
This
yeah.
one here. Now I've taken my headphones off, so I can't hear you guys. But if they could do something like this, a bit of an interior, have some rebels in a cannon outside. That could be quite a cool set.
That would be.
You could almost pair it up with like the Endor bunker style or the Scarif bunker style as well, where you then have the inside of it with maybe some generic, or again, it'd be a great place to put Roken in there and maybe some others. So yeah, good shout, JB. He's coming out with all of the.
Well, you
good
see,
ideas.
Lego, my DMs are open.
Red Lego. I know. Apparently, I heard that they're looking for like 300 new designers. Yeah, 6 right here. Just saying. Just saying. Just saying.
I'll just act as the middleman and just send people their way. Happy to do that. But, yeah, I didn't think of another one there, but yeah, all for GB.
Could they do a rooftop chase scene? I don't know how well that translate into Lego though.
Well, then you've got Forlom as well. That would drop
Yeah.
into it as well. Oh, they're back again.
That was cool. And that other bounty hunter, that reptilian bounty hunter, would be a really cool figure.
Yes. Yeah.
They could have here's this now. This set would sell if they did the
Oh boy.
the if they did the drug lab where they cooked all the spice. That would be a great set. I'd enjoy
Breaking
that
Bad
one.
scene.
Exactly.
Look,
Yeah.
we have to cook.
Because they did have an actual drug meth lab in the Star Wars universe.
They
So that
did.
was an interesting one. And that would translate
Augers.
to Lego very well.
Yeah, it would. I mean, that's definitely.
Very family friendly.
I mean, it goes through the loophole of like things that are a little bit too much for Lego. Like Lego doesn't
They
want
can
to do
just, they can
military
just call
stuff,
it
but
a kitchen
because
set.
it's a
there you go.
kitchen, candy kitchen, Star Wars
Just-
candy kitchen. They're making
just-
candy.
Reining you in a little bit on this one. Am I right to assume that everybody's played Fallen Order, or has anybody not
I
played
haven't.
Fallen Order?
I
I
haven't
played
yet.
part
I
of
have.
it.
I played it all. I platinumed it.
I'm
Did
not
JB
finished.
say he hasn't?
No, I haven't yet. I mean, but
I thought you might have. But the reason I ask is, do we think the Purge Troopers, for those who've played the game, were done justice in the series? Because they weren't easy to defeat, but they weren't particularly. They didn't really achieve much in the series. And
No,
I just,
they looked kind of off. Was
They-
it just me who thought they looked?
I
slightly
I
different?
didn't think they were purge troopers, because purge troopers aren't they like airborne troopers?
No,
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 What are
they
the
come
air-
with
what-
everything. They come in so many different. There's ones with like big guns, and there's ones with
Yeah.
like two-handed melee weapons, and then they
I don't
do,
know.
like a staff one, kind of like Magna Guard staff.
They have the
Um,
airborne helmets.
So yeah, well
Yeah.
that's what I was referring to. Because did they have the airborne helmets in
I don't
Kenobi?
believe-
Because it looked
I
like they
think
had
so.
some sort of ATST driver type of helmet thing going on.
I'd need to go back and have a look. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, they look different.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I would have liked to seen them a little bit more because
Yeah.
they're supposed to like work hand in hand with the Inquisitors.
Yeah.
And, like the Inquisitors squad, I guess. And we saw them twice, 3 times, maybe. I don't know. Would have liked to
I've
see
just-
them.
I've just
Isn't it
opened it
Ogre?
up. I've opened it up on my computer. They don't have the airborne helmets in the in Kenobi, which
They were
is
pretty nondescript. It
Yeah.
felt.
They
I didn't
really
realize
do
I didn't
anything,
realize
they're
they were
just
purge
there.
troopers.
I think
Yeah,
it
I
was
didn't-
more just for the fan service factor. Like, oh, it's a purge trooper.
But I think what would have been good at that point of the, Kenobi is still kind of trying to get back in. And yes, the expectation is a Purge Trooper would have been easier to overcome than an Inquisitor, but still would have been a level of challenge. But a challenge at that point you would have expected Kenobi to have overcome. And it would have been pretty cool to see them going with the electric staffs against his, him overcoming them.
That would have been
So
pretty cool.
that was my take on it. But yeah,
I would have liked
Nathan, from your perspective, being a helmet collector, I don't know if you guys have seen, but Nathan has a stunning helmet collection behind him.
I see that. That is very cool.
But with a Purge Trooper helmet, is that something you've ever thought wouldn't mind one of them?
the possibilities with the helmets around us. I think it would definitely be a really cool one for them to make because the design on them is just awesome. But I think in a laziness part of you, I don't think they'd want to make something so unique because they want to reuse the mold as much as they can.
Yeah.
But it would definitely be an awesome one to have.
I mean, it from a Lego perspective as well, thinking of helmets, a Purge Trooper helmet would, whether
That's
they
just
would
an
jump on it or
airborne.
not, but yeah, you could see it fitting into that range, along with the Death Trooper as well, which obviously not from Kenobi, but that is a gap because they love everything like
I
that.
miss the days where it seems like nowadays Lego, they make a mold and they have to use it as many times as possible. Where there used to be a time where we'd get like Crow and that clone pilot helmet. They only used it once. They
Yeah.
used it. It served its purpose. Lego didn't force it down our
That
throats
is
in another
such
set
a good
again.
helmet. That's such a good helmet.
I miss those days.
Yeah, indeed.
Nothing
Well,
sacred
anyway.
Yo.
anymore.
Lego fell off, bro.
Don't say that.
Well, chaps, before the Tinder offers come back in, I'm going to take this opportunity to start wrapping it up.
Better
again.
than Tinder. Better than
But-
Tinder.
It's cheaper. Don't forget it's cheaper.
Cheaper indeed. So, for all of you that stayed tuned in, thank you very much. And if you haven't already, just please hit that like button. The one thing I will say is when we started the conversation about the poll, the peak was that it was just right. Given the conversation that we have, and Matt, you and I can take credit for this, the peak now is that it should have been a movie. It didn't have it didn't have the absolute majority, but it did have the majority out of the three. So, you and I made good arguments there, Matt. That's what I'm going to take from that. But to the five of you, thank you so much for coming along and joining me. You're
Thank
all
you for
welcome.
having us.
Thank you,
Dom,
thank you.
yeah, long overdue. I know I've been trying to get you on, but every time I ask you, you've been like, "Oh, I'm off to Florida," or "Oh, I'm off to Chicago."
I've been busy. I've been a busy
You've
guy,
been
but
busy. You haven't.
other than I think Virginia and probably December, I should be free.
Awesome. Well, look forward to talking about that. And then JB, you have not had your own standalone episode yet, so we'll talk and get a date in the diary.
Do
for
it.
that.
Do it.
And you only live like round the corner, so
The first live Opie-Verse.
it's
Do it.
possible.
Cool.
It is a possibility. We'll see.
No, I'm the first. I'm
No.
the first.
Well, we could do it
I'll
together.
fight you for it, JB.
That will be the first live episode, is them two fighting to see who gets the first live episode.
With
That
you
would be cool.
commentating. You're the true Geordie. There you go. So,
Whoa, I am not a Geordie. Let's not get into that. But never mind.
Crushed an
But
earth
yeah,
there.
yeah, nah. And well, I'm a football fan, so there's a bit. And he is who he is. So, especially if you ever saw Leave There's Only stuff. But we digress nonetheless. But yeah, thank you to you guys. It has been an absolute honor to host you about this such emotive and triggering topic. But we've hopefully all got it out of our system, and we can go and watch it again in peace and harmony, and like Obi-Wan, rise above it and go from there. To all of you who've watched, thank you for sticking with us. And if you watch it back, I never understand people who come and watch back because I don't feel like it's the same, but I appreciate all of you as well for doing stuff. Yes, you do. You do. I always get woken up at like 3 o'clock in the morning to a notification from Matt Mellish about a comment on it. So I appreciate you, Matt. But I suppose I always watch back Stud Buds, but I watch it through the day as well. So you got a Stud Buds tonight, Matt?
We will be. It might be just Ethan and I, but we're going to make do with what we have.
I have my laptop set up. If you need, I'm chilling.
Get him in. We'll go from there. But guys, I'm sure you guys watching, whether you're watching live or you're watching back, you will know all of
if you're
these
watching
chaps.
for Henry.
But I need to put his name in the title, don't I? Just like with guests and Henry Calvin.
Henry
I'll change that afterwards. But yeah, you can find the primary platform for all these guys is on TikTok. I will put their links in after we log off, but go and check them out on TikTok, and then you can find all of their other content from there. But guys, thank you very much, and have a fantastic rest of your day. I'm sure if you're like me, you're going to bed. I know JB, you're going to go and eat, and then have a fantastic week, and I will speak to you all very soon. Thank you. And now do the awkward wave into the abyss. And then we go.
Thank
from there.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Goodbye.